Hello and welcome to the World Men's Curling Championship, coming to you live from Beijing. The first time that the men's event has stopped off in this part of the world. Plenty to intrigue travellers, the Forbidden City, plenty of history, plenty for the tourists to do, explore the ancient past and exciting modern developments as well. But it's the Beijing Capital Gymnasium, that's the main focus for international curling and the men's world title at stake. It's session 7 of the round robin, and our feature game here is Russia against Sweden. I'm Alison Walker, with me Logan Gray. Live commentary on the whole game coming up, plus updates from all the other games as well. And there are the players ready for the action at the side of the sheets. And another decent crowd in to watch the drama unfold in this session. The Chinese team are playing, so the Chinese have turned out in force again to support their team. As the two sets of players shake hands. Russia on the back of a sore loss this morning, hoping to bounce back. So let's give you the lineups for Russia. The lead is Petr Dron. The skip, Evgeny Arkhipov. At third, it's Sergei Glukov. And the fourth player, Alexei Stuskalski. The Swedish lineup playing lead, Christopher Sundgren. At second, Marcus Eriksson. Their third player is Christian Lindström. And the skip, Oscar Eriksson. And there are the standings after session 6. Norway leading the way, 4 wins, no losses. Canada and Germany on 3-1. Russia just the 1 victory so far, 3 losses, and Scotland the only team yet to get a win in this round robin. And Logan, the 2 lineups, I'll come to you in a second. Let's just update people on the other games. Czech Republic against China on sheet B. On sheet C we have USA Germany, and sheet D is Switzerland against Scotland. And the Russians, Logan, have jiggled a little bit with their lineup post Olympic Games, haven't they?
Yeah. Good afternoon, Alison. Russia, they've been juggling their lineup a little bit over the last year, really, and they settled on something kind of at the last minute for the Olympic Games, where they kind of moved Stukowski up to playing the last stones at the European Championships, and Andrei Drozdov was skipping the game and throwing second. However, Andrei is now dropped to the bench, and they brought in the youngest player of the team, Sergei Glukov, to fill his boots at third position. So it's an interesting new lineup, and it'll be interesting to see if that improves their fortunes on the ice.
And for most people watching and listening, they're not really that used to seeing this particular Swedish team at the World Championships either.
No, absolutely, but this Swedish team, they're no mugs, that's for sure. They're the World Junior Champions in 2011, and they've been doing a lot of damage on the World Curling Tour, and I'm sure people or avid curling fans all over the world will be very aware of this team skipped by Oscar Eriksson.
Petr Dron gets us underway. the lead for Russia.
Yeah, and actually, it was really a last-minute call as well to see Oscar and his team selected for the World Championships. Everyone kind of expected that Sweden's reigning world champion, skipped by Nicolas Edin, would come here to Beijing to defend his title after the Olympic Games.
So what's the thinking behind that?
Well, I think I can tell you. I'm not sure exactly what the thinking is, but I can tell you from a Great Britain perspective, it was perceived that we shouldn't send the Olympic team to the World Championships this year, and we should give somebody else a shot at it. And the Olympic team didn't play in the Scottish Championships, so the winners were Ewan McDonald, who came here. And the idea is that Scotland can showcase other teams other than the Olympic team, and that could hopefully bring more funding to the sport if they were to secure medals at the world level. So I'm sure there's a similar thinking behind it for Sweden, and yeah, and also it's just great experience for this young team too.
And they've been performing well so far this week. Second stone of the Russian lead.
Yeah, and the other advantage that this Swedish team has perhaps over Nicolas Edin is that they actually came here in September to play in the China Open and experienced these conditions, got familiar with the culture, and they played in this venue as well, so perhaps another part of the thinking.
Yeah, familiar to them. This is their lead, Kristoffer Sundgren. Karlstad in Sweden. 2 years on the team. World University Games gold medal in Trentino in Italy in 2013. Reminder of the rules of play for you. They play 6 ends minimum, 73 minutes for each team for the game, and the coach interaction with the clock continuing. This is Evgeny Arkhipov, 22-year-old.
Yeah, and actually at one point during the European Championships, Evgeny Arkhipov was throwing last stones for this team, so they really have done a bit of juggling, trying to find their strongest lineup.
Played third in Sochi. The Russians were 7th. They're fairly new to the team, just a year. Marcus Eriksson, second player for Sweden.
Слабый. Шутер нельзя терять.
Well, it looks like a pretty clean first end here. Both teams trying to ease their way in. I'm sure that a lot of the teams were playing reasonably aggressive to start, but the ice conditions have been a little bit tricky. And if I was playing in these ice conditions, I'd be leaning towards a more defensive game just to try and take some of the risk out of the equation.
Yeah, it was becoming a little bit of a lottery in 1 or 2 of the games yesterday. But it was the same for everyone.
The unfortunate thing about, I wouldn't say the ice conditions are poor, but not the super standard that we expect at World Championships. One of the frustrating things about it is that it does kind of narrow the gap between the teams a little bit. So perhaps the more skillful team doesn't have as much advantage. They can't be quite as accurate as they can at their brilliant best. So
yep, levels things out. Other conditions should improve as the week goes on.
Yeah, and it must be said that you would expect that in any international championships, even in a venue where you would expect fantastic ice conditions.
Here's Sergei Lukov. The one player we're not too familiar with in the Russian team, from Chelyabinsk in Russia. That was, of course, the city that was hit with the meteorite.
Yeah, and on a more cheery note, I also hosted the World Mixed Doubles and Seniors a couple of years ago too.
8, lite hårt. 9-0. Ja. Japp. Japp, 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 japp. Ja. Vi släppte han på vicken istället. Var rätt okej. 9-2 på den. 9-2.
So a bit of cat and mouse at the moment, both teams trying to find this hit and roll in behind that solitary guard that you can see in the bottom of the picture there.
Second stone from Sergei Glukov. Played in the World Junior Championship in Lim in Switzerland earlier this year.
Well, they were trying to roll behind the guard there. They've gone to the open side, but rolled far enough away that it makes a difficult hit and roll for Sweden, and even if they were to make it, they would roll behind the tee line.
Christian Lundström rather, the third for Sweden. Easy to spot with those glasses.
Bra fart. Var har det? Hade ingen tid.
Also from Karlstad.
So, not going at full throttle on that one, just keeping the running path clear. And so Sweden actually were trying to hold it out on the wing there. They've got the hammer here in the first end, and I think it's pretty clear that they'll be quite happy to carry it over to the second end.
So Alexei Stuzalski playing the skip stones for Russia. Part of that Sochi team.
Well, he's going to roll it out of the rings here, is he? Oh, have a good look at it. So a couple of options here for Oscar. They could go around that guard, or they could peel it and accept the blank. Well, looks like it is out of the rings, as shown there. So here's Oscar, not taking a lot of ice here to make this draw. Only really 3.5 feet.
And Oscar Eriksson, of course, the skip for this one, but was the alternate for Niklas Edin's team in Sochi. But I bet he's enjoying this experience of being his own man and his own team, and probably, Logan, a little bit of a point to prove to a lot of people.
I'm not too sure he has. I think everybody knows how good Oscar Eriksson is and how good his team are. And Oscar calls it a game up there with the best of the world, and he's shown that by having some great scalps over the last couple of seasons on the World Curling Tour. I think it's he's maybe just seeing that this as his opportunity to really shine on the big stage, and they're doing themselves justice so far, that's for sure.
Must be hard to be in the shadow of the better known team, the Edin team, and be the alternate. And it's almost like the bridesmaid and the bride, isn't it?
I'm sure Oscar's picked up a lot of experience as well from just being on tour with Team Edin. I know how badly he wanted to come here, because I think there was a feeling that if Oscar was to outperform Niklas on the World Curling Tour this year, then they might well get their shot here. And tour this year, then they might well get their shot here. And he knew he was going to the Olympic Games, but as far as his own team goes, their goal was to get here to the Worlds and potentially medal in Beijing.
Well, his dreams come true in terms of getting here. And they're certainly well up with the quality that's on display here. No question of that. So it's the Russian stone that's counting, the red stone.
Well, a really nice shot played there by Stukalski. Makes a perfect freeze, and now Oscar Eriksson perhaps punished for being aggressive and choosing to go around the guards, slips to the back of the tee line, and now needs to cut the poppy to score one here.
Yep, last stone of this first end.
Big scrub here from Sundgren and Eriksson. Looks like it's going to over curl though. Will it be good enough? I'm not quite sure. I don't think so, Alison.
Don't think so, and that's got to go down. It's a bit of a mistake in the first end. Got himself into a little bit of a hole there, Eriksson, and after one, it's a steal for Russia. Russia 1, Sweden 0.
Я понял. Но он все равно решил. Потом так вот, когда он сильнее вначале шел. Потом он наелся снега.
Analyzing what went on there. Good
Здесь,
start
видишь,
for
может,
Russia.
веса можно было чуть сбросить. Он как-то шел, а потом
We were at the end of an awful beating by Canada this morning, Logan, 9-1. Is it good to get another game very quickly? Get that out of your system?
Oh, I would say so. They don't want to be hanging around and dreading their next game. Really, I think they would want to get out there and try and reprove themselves, rebuild their own confidence. But I think they know that. I think they would have known before the game and before the tournament that the game against Canada is always going to be a difficult one for them to win. So I think they might have a bit more confidence, a bit more of a feeling that they might be able to get a scalp of a win over Sweden here rather than the win against Canada. Doesn't quite get there. Great attempt though. And it's a super freeze by the Russian fourth player. Really got his team out of trouble, and after that hit and roll out of the rings. Oh, here's Peter John, certainly the tallest man in the competition.
6. Контроль. 6.
I certainly wouldn't mind having somebody of that size and presence over my stone. On my draws, carrying it miles and miles down the ice.
Yep, he's a big, strong lad.
Yes, I wouldn't like to run into him in a dark alley one night.
He really is a head and shoulders above a lot of the other players.
Kom igen! Jävla bra så. Ja, skönt. Klarar fan inte mycket den här ändå. Nej.
Corner guard goes up for Sweden.
Elsewhere, Switzerland against Scotland. Scotland still without a win on sheet D.
And we're back over here on sheet D, where they lost their 3 in the first game in the first end against Sweden. And it very much looks like they're going to do a similar against Switzerland here.
Benoit Shorts with the final stone there, and you can still already see 2 already in there.
Yeah, put 3 on the board for Switzerland. Disastrous start for the winless Scotland. Now trailing Switzerland by 3 shots to 0. I'd say, Alison, a lot of people fancied Ewan McDonald and his team to be in the mix for the playoffs this week. So it's been a surprise that they've started as slowly as they have.
And still tight, but it's how that affects confidence in the remaining round-robin games. Good to at least get 1 win.
Well, there's no question they've had a tough run of games to start, but even still, the first 4 games, playing some of the toughest teams. If you're going to make the playoffs, you need to be winning at least 2 of these games, I would say. And they still got Canada to come at some point as well, so it's going to be tough to see Scotland in the playoffs now.
And it's only Monday, and we have such a proud tradition in Scotland of success at curling. It's not happening this week so far, but time enough. Back to our featured game. Russia against Sweden.
Här hade jag på krippa. Känns det lite eller? Nej, ja, där.
Well, here's Oscar's older brother Marcus. Kind of took a few years away from the sport after finishing his junior career back in 2008. But came back on the scene just in the last couple of seasons. Yeah, really is a terrific second player.
I'm sure Oscar's delighted to have his brother on board.
Keeping him in check.
Elsewhere on sheet C, USA against Germany. First end. And it's Pete Fenson with the final stone. Hit for 1, and he makes it successfully. Germany hoping that would nip out, but it didn't. But it's 1 for the USA.
A little bit of a mistake there from Pete Fenson, but certainly erred on the correct side. If you're going to miss that shot, then you don't want to give up a silly steal. Scoring 1's okay, keeps your nose ahead in the game.
Mycket mjukare släpp. Ja, gärna för linjer. Ja, 4. Ja, tajt den här. 10 bak 4. Bak 8. Bak 4, bak 8, bak 8. Bak 12.
Makes it past the guard, but how heavy is it going to be? It's just going to bite on the outside edge there.
Lite mer så på den. Ja, jag kom jävligt hårt ut på den. Ja, tvungen att bromsa den. Han hänger i alla fall. Ja, det var fan vad irriterande. Slashna. Fortfarande konen kvar.
Well, there's a chance here for Russia in the second end. They've got a take out here on this yellow second shot to lie 2.
This is Sergei Glukov.
And the nice thing about this shot is that by rolling away from the centre line, they're rolling away from the corner guard, and they might get a chance to come around the corner guard with their next stone. Well, where's this one going? Oh, that's a poor shot there from Sergei Glukov. Pushes it over behind the corner guard, however.
Ja, ja. Lite bakom 10 här som inte bara kan göra den lätt. För lätt ska jag tro. Ja, det borde gå.
So here's Christian Lindstrom.
Bak 4, bak 8.
He's going to split the house. They've got one over there on the other side of the rings behind the corner guard. Maybe want to make sure they don't go too wide here. Ideally, they would want this stone in the position so that if Russia throws the one behind the corner guard, then it would still be lying short. So it's gone a little bit wider than that, but you would expect Russia to play the takeout on the wide stone. So they aren't going to lie shot off this stone unless they make a roll over to somewhere near the back side of the 4-foot circle. And slips underneath that yellow, which could still come into a scoring position here. Sweden lying to with the last stone.
Inte mycket, tryck det på det. Sätt samma grabbar. Den är längre in just nu i banan. Känns precis samma fart. Ner hit, kvasten. Med Mackan, kör. Järnet! Hårt. Järnet! Kom igen!
Absolutely perfect. Real nice draw there by Christian Lindstrom.
Sweepers doing a fair bit of work as well. All Swedish teams, it's one of their strengths, one of the things that's worked on by the coaches. Here you see them. Roger Schmidt, the Russian coach first of all.
Yeah, he's done the rounds a little bit. He's done a few countries. There's a kind of band of them. I think we talked before about them all just swapping shirts every so often.
A few Canadians do that too on the international circuit, lending their expertise around the world, which is very good of them. So Stukalski. Roll, and it's hanging on in there.
Who's lying second shot? That's the question here.
I think it's the red one.
If there's any dubiety about it at all, then Oscar should hit that red stone.
Here's the Swedish bench.
PL Lindholm on the right, Gustav Eskilsson in the middle, and Mattias Mabergs on the left. So Mattias, he's the team coach for Oscar's team.
Just spotted himself on the big screen.
Actually Oscar's teacher from the Harnösand gymnasium, where
the curling academy
have the curling school in Sweden, correct?
You can actually go to school and learn curling in Sweden.
Yeah, it's a really good setup. I was having breakfast with Soren Grand this morning, and we were kind of discussing it and talking about the setup and how great it would be if we could have it in Scotland and that we could select curling as a subject.
We also do it in Canada.
Yeah, and actually Soren was saying that he thinks there's a new one in Östersund in Sweden as well. So it's a model that's obviously working.
Yep, producing some great young players in Scandinavia, and this is one of them. A chance really for him to put his imprint on this championship, Oscar Eriksson.
Well, a good shot there by Oscar. Splits the house. Still not sure that they're lying third shot though, so I think he was trying to leave it a little bit higher in the house so that he would have an easy Easy takeout for 3 with his last one. Just a little bit too far, but still could have a chance of a double with his last.
Mätning om det i alla fall. Kanske. Kändes fan som att det var röd.
Средним? Да. Не, давай чуть пошире, послабее сделаем. Чуть-чуть.
Well, Alexei Stukalski doesn't really have too much option here. This is a case of damage limitation. I think the Russians will be accepting they're going to lose a multiple score here. It's just how big it's going to be. It certainly looks like it's going to be. It's definitely going to be a shot for 3 somewhere.
So what can he do to make it as difficult as possible for Oscar Eriksson?
I think ideally he's looking for a hit and a big roll across the house. That's actually not left too bad an angle on the 2 red stones, so it could well just be a takeout for 2, or even a draw for 2. I think the fact that they're looking at this tells us that the red shot is lying. The red shot on the far left of your picture is lying a 3rd shot, which makes it a little bit of a surprise that he played the takeout played the draw with his first stone.
Here's the stone colours: Russia red, Sweden yellow. Remember. Even if you're not sure which one is counting, would that affect your decision?
I think part of it is, yeah, absolutely. If you're not sure, then you play the takeout. There's absolutely no question. But even if he thinks the yellow is lying shot, he could still throw the takeout. It's just whatever he feels more confident. At the end of the day, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. You just need to put points on the scoreboard.
And just be confident about what you're throwing and comfortable in your decision.
I would think he'll be throwing the draw here, but he's got the brush in a place where it could be either that or the takeout. Certainly looks like it's a draw here.
Glider på. Kalla ganska bra. Ta det lugnt.
Looks like plenty of running here. So a nice draw from Oscar Eriksson. That one's going to rest right on the tee line. And after the disappointment of the steal in the first end, bounces back well and scores a deuce in the second end.
Well played to Sweden in that second end, and after 2, it's now Russia 1, Sweden 2. They can get around 17,000 people inside here, and we've a good number in this afternoon. Let's check what's happening elsewhere though. Czech Republic against China. Into the second end, and it's Leo Ray with the last stone for China.
Yeah, it looks like a nice opportunity here to score a deuce. Doesn't need to make a play on his own stone here though, so just needs to tread a little carefully. Just playing a nice control weight, using the sweepers and holds both yellows in the 4-foot circle. Score of 2.
So good start for China. Hoping to bounce back after a disappointing day yesterday when Leo Ray just couldn't get control of the ice, and some bad mistakes in their defeat to Canada. But starting off this one well. So Sweden setting things up with the centre guard.
Yeah, nice and tight to the rings. That'll make the come around that a little bit more difficult here for Peter Dron.
Линия норма, 6. Сип. Только вес. Сип, 4. Сип, линия. Линия, сип. Только вес. Только вес. Давай. Сип. Сип. Да. Супер.
Petra Dron, originally from Leningrad.
Hela set 2/3 på fyrfoten.
St. Petersburg is where he actually lives.
Upp 8, 12. 12. Grym linje. 8, 12. Dra en trist nu. Skalla lite. Bra linje nu. Byt och kör. Gärna kalla. Kärnan är kort. Ja! Kom igen. Kom igen. Kör. Kom igen. Gärna. Ja.
Really nice draw there by Christopher Sundgren. Actually used to skip his own team in juniors, and then came in as the 5th man for this Oscar Eriksson team, and now a terrific lead, one of the best in the business.
Here's the hog to hog from Petra Dron.
Начало 8. Есть вес. Только вес. Пока линии больше. Есть. Линии больше. Контакт. Веса больше. Контакт. Вес контакт идет.
So 15.1. I think we're saying about 14.5 seconds will go all the way to T-line unswept. Ice conditions have been kind of varying in speed from path to path. Just a little bit of a fight to control the frost in here at times.
Yep, especially down the two sides, the two wings.
You can see it a little bit on the surface there as well. It's such a big arena, it's so difficult to control the air condition. So here's Marcus Eriksson trying to make a hit on this redstone and roll to the wing. Well, actually I think they would probably have preferred to go to the inside and onto the centre line and behind the guards, but still a reasonably good shot there.
You can see the whole arena, all the action, 4 for the price of 1. But this is the game we are concentrating on. Russia against Sweden. Evgeny Arkhipov.
Well, hits it right on the nose. Wasn't too sure about that call, maybe a little bit of a lack of awareness of stone positioning. It gives Sweden a really nice chance here to make a hit and roll to the centre line, and they can even afford to hit the stone a little bit thin and roll into their yellow stone too. So maybe we'd like to see something a bit more aggressive there from the Russians. Okay, so really kind of erred on the wrong side there. Hits that one on the nose. Well, looks like Russia want to play the takeout again here. I'd like to see them be a bit more, take a little bit more risk when they've got the last stone advantage. perhaps a freeze on that yellow stone at the top of the forefoot, and it might be a nice shot.
Second stone for Archipel.
The risk here at the moment is that that tight guard's a yellow stone, and Sweden can run that back, and it's going to be very easy for them to stick that yellow stone at the top of the forefoot and remove that red stone. So there's a little bit, I don't think that really improved the situation for Russia at that stone. And now Oscar's going to really try and turn up the heat on this Russian team by throwing a freeze onto this yellow. And this is really what the Russians had to protect against with their last two calls.
Snacka! Snacka!
Well, this one's looking a little bit hot, and the supers are backing off. Oh, that's a poor shot from Christian. Always say that if you're throwing a draw shot, then you want to throw it to the sweepers. And Christian failing to do that on that occasion.
Just bad judgment.
Well, I didn't look too amused either with that one. He's a funny guy, but I don't think you could see the funny side in that one.
With a chance for Sergei Glukov to take advantage, perhaps.
Yes! Оп, линия есть! Yes! Оп, ждать! Линия плохая!
I've watched the line of the previous stone.
Будет за него!
Сам. Блин.
Lägger vi där liksom halvfrys, då vet jag inte vad de ska hitta på.
Well, again, same mistake really for the Russians. Slightly more useful behind the tee for them than it would have been for Sweden. But it's going to be the same shot again here for Christian Lindström. I very much doubt he's going to be heavy this time. So this is partly down to communication, what sort of adjustment they make from his previous one, what sort of feedback he gets from his sweepers on the split time they got, and how they felt that he released the stone. So let's see if they made the correct adjustment here. That's a good shot. Leaves those two yellow stones lined up onto that red. So what do you do if you're the Russians here? And this was always the problem, the Russians hitting that stone on the wing. It wasn't really achieving anything for them. They should have been trying to take care of these stones around the centre. And it's going to be difficult to see how they're not going to lose that red stone in the forefoot at this moment.
And that's what they're looking at.
Просто вот так, если просто бить, этот может не уйти. Согласен?
Надо почти стей, да? Не почти, а
Почти,
прям
а стей, будет нормально. Этот улетит, но этот останется. Ну где-нибудь здесь уже. Хотя бы.
Да.
Средним, сильным? Дай сильным. 5.
Тут по прямой почти с этой стороны. Давай здесь.
С этой?
Тут по прямой.
That's what the alternate's thinking.
С этим вращением по прямой здесь.
So Glukov's second stone, he's given it a bit of welly.
Oh, that's an absolute disaster. Really needed to get at least one of those yellow stones out of there.
He's only playing at 55%. Bukov not had a great start to this game.
Yeah, I think he could have expected that red stone was going to leave, but at the same time he would have planned to move at least one of those yellow stones off the centre line. So that's really going to put a lot of pressure on the Russian skip now.
Yep, those two yellows still sitting pretty.
Jag tror att vi ska vara noga med att...
Deras är bättre.
Jag tror att vi ska vara noga med att ligga precis på
göra på nästa sten. Exakt, precis där.
Vi gardar den lite.
Ja, exakt. Tror du så då?
Ja.
Ja, det är väl 8. Gilla 7an nu. Den curlade lite mer va? Mindre. Ja. Vi ska ligga...
So I'm not too sure what Oscar's called here. He's either called a guard or maybe even a draw around these two yellow stones at the top of the house to freeze on that back red.
Hake nära! Hake! Bra det. Bara inte in. Hake nära! In är bra.
Here's our hog-to-hog clock.
Lite risk över nästan. Lite knapp hake. Nej, kommer köra
They're calling the guards here.
Helt upp. Helt upp.
Sitt. Sitt då.
16.8. So that'll give us an idea for later on in the game.
Jävlar vad han drog.
Well, I covered the
Fot med ris nästan.
second yellow,
Okej, eller vad tycker du?
the one that's furthest away from the middle of the rings.
Well, happening down one side as well.
Yeah, it's just the way it's all panned out. There's a lot of curl off that barrier side. It'd be interesting to know who's lying in second shot position at the moment. Russia could choose to just try and move that yellow and lie too. But I think Oscar erring on the safe side and covering the front yellow to prevent a double takeout.
So next side, Stukalski.
Slabby!
Wow.
The first of his stones.
Wow.
We'll just move that yellow shot stone a little bit closer to the middle here. Oscar can't really afford to throw a guard here because there's a couple of angled raises on the right hand side of your picture on the two red guards. So he'll probably have to throw one into the circles here to lie to.
Tror han det? Ja. Gör inget om den kallar över lite och så liksom bara ska vi in där heller, det är okej.
Vi kör. Lugnt förbi den här så.
Well, I don't think he'll want to under ice this one. Doesn't want to chip the yellow and set up a double takeout. Can afford to be a little bit wider.
Vi har inte råd att träffa utsidan, lämnar vi bara en enkel dubbel. Så hellre liksom bara kalla över och dra ner.
Anywhere kind of around the back of the forefoot is perfect here.
Bak 4 fart. Så det är 80 då.
I think that's exactly what he just said in Swedish actually, back 4 weight. So here's our hog-to-hog clock again.
Dra bak 4! Wow! Kalla! Wow! Topp 4!
I'm guessing around 14.8 is what they're kind of looking for here.
Bara pris!
Looking 5. Actually curled a lot and passed.
Okej, så rätt bra det där.
Ja, det blir bra.
Okay, so good enough. It didn't look like they took a lot of ice there. But gets a good result. Could well still be a double takeout for 2 here though.
Det var bra fart alltså. Träffar snabbt.
I think they'll be looking at that red furthest left in the picture, trying to drive it into the space between the two yellow stones. Spray them both, stick around, score 2. Simple as that, Alison.
Ровно между ними.
Не знаю.
Сильный?
Ну такой, да, на 5.
Давай. Все, я запомню.
I mean, part of this decision might well be that they don't feel that comfortable with the draw and that kind of wide, fresh path on the barrier side. And there's far less reward in that shot. So maybe going for the slightly riskier shot with the more reward here.
Maybe the impact of this morning is this decision.
Yeah, and the thing is, he can miss the draw here and give up 2, whereas he can get pretty close to making this shot, still miss it, and give up 1 like that. So I think that was a wise call from the Russians, but they certainly would like to get a point on the board.
Yep, they're in a bit of a sticky predicament there. And sometimes it's 1 step back and 2 forward. After 3 ends. Russia 1.
Ja, exakt.
Sweden 2.
8 som det pluskar i för den. Satan vad han...
And of course, including that 3rd end there. Sweden with 2-shot lead now, 3-1. Here's another look at that final shot from Alexei Stuskalski. That yellow one remains. Happening with the Czech Republic-China game. You see there, 2-0 to China after 2. Lito with the final stone for the Czech Republic in this 3rd end.
Not too sure if there's a chance to score more than 1 here. Needs to get really tight to the guard. Good attempt by Yiji, but there's only going to be a score of 1 here.
And that makes it 2-1 to China in that one. Chance for 2 for Czech Republic, not quite there. This is our featured game. This is Russia against Sweden. Sweden with a steal in the last end to give them a 3-1 lead. Getting things underway in this 4th end. With the centre guard.
Третий. 5. 5. 5. Фип. Фип. Дальше вниз. Дальше вниз. Открыть надо его. Фип. Фип.
Okay, so an aggressive call here from the Russians. Throws a corner guard against Sweden's centre guard. There's no question that this Swedish team probably have the tactical edge. Oscar Eriksson really is so tactically aware.
And he has played with the world's best, part of that world championship winning team.
Terrific draw there from Christopher Sundgren, playing 84% for the tournament so far. That was a really tight guard, and you see there's so much curl late on in the path of the stone. It's actually even popped out the other side of that centre guard.
Sundgren, a good football player and ice hockey player. Most of these guys are pretty good at other sports as well. Petrodron, they lead for Russia. He's 79%.
Пожестче было. Линии больше, линии больше.
It's got a very short name for a Russian.
Куда едем?
Alison, can you tell me what the longest curling name is?
Can't quite think of that offhand, but I'll have a think.
Yeah, he's from Finland and his first name's Markku. He's got a brother called Jussi.
Pavlniemi. Is that how you say it?
No, you need to stop listening to the director. It's Jussi Pavlniemi.
Jussi Pavlniemi.
U15 if you don't want to hurt yourself.
Jussi Pavlniemi. There's Marcus Eriksson.
We'll work on that one later. Oh, a mistake here from Marcus. Misses the peel on the guard after a super freeze from Petrodron.
Wondering what went wrong there. I'm sure we'll catch a replay of that at some point. Evgeny Arkhipov, 75% tournament accuracy.
Плюс 5. Какой плюс? Бэклайн. Бэк-вылет. Бэк-вылет. Свип! Бэк-вылет. Свип линия! Свип до конца! Свип!
Well, they're going after this Yellowstone. Don't want to rub the red. Might be one of those ones that they would have preferred. Chip the centre guard. Maybe the shot I would have been calling there, trying to chip the centre guard and roll in behind the corner, and that really puts Sweden in a bad spot, but that mistake will put Sweden right back in the driving seat here.
Top 12! Top 12 lägger vi den!
Hoping to make up for his last stone.
A little too much weight again. Doesn't find enough curl.
Meantime, let's head to sheet C. United States against Germany. Pete Benson, final stone for the USA. It's 1-1, third end.
Clean it. Clean. Oh! Clean. Good. Oh!
And there's a few reds in there and a yellow. Away goes the yellow. And it's like 3 for the USA.
Good end, boys.
So they take a 4-1 lead after 3 ends.
Ничего!
Back in our featured game, 3-1 to Sweden over Russia. We've seen 1 or 2 mistakes in this end.
Yeah, it doesn't manage to make the double take out there, Arkhipov, but moves that Yellowstone out from behind the centre guard.
Christian Lindstrom, the Swedish third, he's 82% for the tournament.
Hey,
83% in this game.
Well, only makes a 50% shot there though. Trying to remove both of those red stones and only gets to one. Well, now Russia have a big enough scoring area available to them that they can try and start bringing this corner guard into play now.
Yes.
Бэклайн!
Линия.
Колодка, много веса.
Plenty of handle from Sergei Glukov. He's really spinning like a top, and I think he's maybe overthrown this a fraction.
And it's spinning all the way out. Having a bit of a nightmare is Sergei Glukov. Nothing's quite working out for him.
3/4, 2/3.
One of the youngest players here, just 21.
Bra fart!
Japp! Japp! Hårt! Hårt, hårt, hårt!
Bra Linn!
Well, no mistake this time from Christian. Makes the raise. Almost looks disappointed with it.
Man of few emotions. Second stone for Sergei Glukov, and his tournament accuracy, Logan, is 69%.
Пока нет линии.
Yeah, not really good enough at this level, unfortunately. He's not having a great game today, only playing 39 in the moment.
Нет линии, нет линии.
So this one's looking a little bit better though. Wouldn't mind just tapping this yellow a little bit. And that red will lie second shot position.
Lite lättare där. Ja, lite. Man spelar 10. Ja. Vad hade du på min där? Så gick. Där har ingen dubbel på. Ja, det är väl typ krockar på lite tidigt. Ja. Tror du? Okej. Men det går. Men inte så mycket kvar. Spela en 10 på min. Ja. Ja, så där tror jag att vi behöver. Och det ska ligga bak. Knappake. Mellan. Ja. Så jag krockar av lite tidigt så. Och du satt ut den lite. Garda. Ja. Jag går lite lättare på den där sidan än vad det är.
Det kommer gå en sten längre ut än vad vi gjort tidigare. Kanske går i ert spår, men...
0,5 då.
Något bak 8, en deci till
Oscar
vänster om linan.
Eriksson's 79% for the tournament. 71 for this game.
He's using his back foot like a little rudder there to try and find his way out to the brush.
It wasn't a wobble then.
I'm sure he knew what he was doing. Just a guard being thrown here. They need to shoot this more for line to get it closer to the center line. A really nice shot there by the Swedish skipper.
Trying to block all routes in.
У тебя бэклайн-то не прошел, еле прошел, а потом как завалил. Я другого варианта не вижу. А? Я хочу желтый-красный.
Well, this now is about trying to find the easiest possible shot for his last one. And it feels like by running this yellow guard in onto the red, onto the yellow, then he's got a chance of lying, then Oscar will make a take out on it, and then that will probably leave a straightforward hit for the last stone. So that's the thinking here. I don't think the Russians are under any illusion that they're going to get a multiple score here without a huge mistake with Oscar's last. Big weight here from Stukalski, playing 78% for the tournament. Looking pretty close here. Terrific shot. And keeps that yellow around on the wings. That wouldn't really come into play, you wouldn't have thought.
Russia in shot position with that red stone.
Ja, good board.
Yeah, I think the red just squeezed a little bit towards the centre line after it hit the yellow. Let's have a look. Just moved over a bit and just made this shot that bit easier for Oscar here.
Skulle kunna köra den, nu ligger vi 2. Jag har hela så det är lugnt. Frågan om jag ska spela hårdare. Nej, jag gillar är det sarg eller 11 eller inget fel. Känn 11 lite mindre. Känns som det trycker ganska segt genom motstånd. 11-0, lite hårt. Det är nästan 10. Ja, bra linje. Rent, rent, japp. Japp, japp.
Well, this is probably an easier shot for Oscar than any of the other players on the sheet, because he's a left-hander. He's coming from the right-hand hack, so you've got a better look at that stone coming on his in turn.
And that makes being left-handed a bit of an advantage, but just in particular situations.
Yeah, he's actually played a really good shot here, because I don't think that Russia can hit that stone on the nose and lie shot. I think the yellow on the left-hand side of the tee line would be lying shot.
So that's what Alexei Stukalski is looking at. Away
Можно двойной ударить?
being shot stone.
Yeah, it's tough to decide what the easiest shot for them here is. They've looked at the double takeout option, but if you get that slightly wrong, then you're losing a steal of 2, and it's going to be difficult for them to come back from a 4-shot deficit. But it doesn't look like there's an easy shot here. And the thing for the even the draw is really difficult for the Russians with those two guards placed where they are.
You saw the time clocks up at the back there. Players have to be aware. They have 73 minutes for each team, each game.
I think these teams have been reasonably decisive so far. This one definitely needs a little bit of care.
Last stone, fourth end. What can he get?
Terrific shot here from Stukalski. That's a real game saver.
Yeah, well worked by the fourth player for Russia. He's allowing himself a smile. He enjoyed that.
Не знал, с какой силой.
Never in doubt, he says. Never in doubt. After 4 ends.
Я не знал, как вести шаг просто.
Продолжаться, давайте. Блять, я понимаю, Сереж, соберись.
Still anybody's game. So here we go with the United States and Germany. The latest from that one. Fourth end, USA 4-1 up. Germany with the last stone. Felix Schultz.
Yeah, it looks like they've had a team change today. That was a hit for 2, and Peter Rickmers there can't quite believe it. Looked like a little bit of a hooked release from Felix Schulze, and it's only going to be a score of 1. Peter Rickmers, just incidentally, he's the new addition to the team today after Christopher Barch has dropped to the bench.
And here's this last stone again in our featured game from the 4th Russian player.
Yeah, and this is why sometimes the skip gets all the credit. It's shots like that to keep the game alive that can be the actual game winners. Super shot from Stukalski. I think he's smiling there, but I think he'll be looking for a slightly better performance from his teammates.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be faced with those shots unless he really, really has to.
4-3.
Working hard at dragging this one along though.
Хорош, нормально, нормально.
There's the numbers for you so far. All heads up to 3-2 to Sweden.
Sweden have definitely been the better team so far though. They've positioned their stones better. They've been more clinical, and I think they've made better tactical calls too, so they've got the last stone advantage. They've got a 1-shot lead, and they'll be trying to convert that into more shots on the board before half-time here. Well, that's a good shot by Christopher Sundgren, keeping it high in the house, keeping the scoring area big. And it makes Russia play this freeze, but their redstone's only going to be in the 12-foot circle, and that's not going to be much of a threat to Sweden.
Начало дома, ближний гард. Гард, гард, Жень. Стой.
Yesterday, Alison, myself and Kenny were talking about how important the first stone at the end is. If you don't get that in the right spot, then it can dictate the whole end, and Peter John's just dropped that just over the hog line, and it's a very ineffective guard, so it's going to put this Russian team under pressure for the whole of this end.
Yeah, they knew that when they were sweeping so vigorously, trying to get it a bit closer. And at this level, these lead stones are absolutely crucial.
Yeah, that was a massive sweep from the Russian guys there to get it down and make that freeze. Peter John really working his middle order hard.
Bak 4. Bak 10. Bak 4. 10. 10 topp 4 så 10. 10 bak 4.
A really nice look at how the stone curls and moves, but maybe it's just got a little bit too much running. And it's going to bounce off.
Jag tyckte den låg tajtare från start. Ja.
Fan, det är ju bak 8.
Här ser bak.
So this presents an opportunity for Russia to make a hit and roll under these 3 stones already on the center line.
And it's Evgeny Arkhipov.
15. Легко. Контроль. Поднять. Давай наружу. Он будет сам наружу. Он сам туда идет. Что ты переживаешь? Все нормально.
Сережа, ролл еще надо. Да.
Not much of a roll though. So what's happening with the host nation against the Czech Republic? 4th end 2-1 to China.
Yeah, and already lying 2 in there, touching the button. Leo Ray with a chance to tap one onto the button and maybe even get a 3rd shot on the board. Super's called into action immediately. How's it looking? Has it got the pace? Just needed another couple of inches more running to make that shot. It's only going to be the 2 that they were lying.
China take 2. 4th end gives them a 4-1 lead over Germany. Into the fifth end of our featured game, Russia against Sweden.
Well, a nice hit and roll there by Russia. They didn't make it the first attempt, but Sweden nose hit while we were taking a look at the Chinese game. And the second time of asking, Russia do make the hit and roll. So Sweden have been forced to peel that centre guard off, and all of a sudden things looking a little bit rosier for the Russians.
Вес 25.
Sergei Glukov could do with something working out for him.
25 хорошо.
Not the best of games in this Russian team.
5.
Оп.
5-4. Линия оп. 5-4.
Леха.
Леха первый.
Ты сам давай.
6 со свипом.
Оп, оп, оп.
Близко. 6 сам идет. Тип. Хорош.
Garden och den här. Den
Okay, so
stickar och så
everything's
deras röda stannar
lined
där.
up nicely for Sweden. They're going to try and run this back on
2/3
to the red,
Ja.
which will hit the yellow and run it onto the one in the
Red.
button, and hopefully they can keep that yellow around there in a shot position. So they'll probably need to drive it across the face to make this shot in the way they're hoping. So a couple of good takeout attempts from Christian in the last end. He's a little bit tight here.
Okay. Okay.
And makes the straight back rather than the contact across the face there, and that's why that yellow stone sprung out of play. And this is actually a really nice position for Russia now.
Jag var lite försiktig
Line
där,
one,
får inte
they've
ut
got a
någonting.
slight stagger on the two stones that are there, and that out-turn draw looks extremely inviting to get one down onto the top of the button in a stealing position here in this fifth end. I'll tell you what, Alison, I think the Russians would be more than happy to get in at half-time on even terms with this Swedish team.
They've taken a bit of a lift after that shot in the fourth, and they've carried that over into this end. Keeping on the Swedish coattails.
6-4. Да, линия.
Viv linje!
Да.
Дай linje!
Линия надо.
Slabba!
Линия свип.
Начало дома!
Свип.
Начало
Свип,
четырёх!
разгоняй.
За свипом!
Да. Да.
Are they going to get past this guard? Yes, they are.
Оп!
Wants to stay in front of the tee line here.
Линию держали, ребят. Только линия нужна.
Still a pretty good shot there.
Всё нормально. Он не сделал вот это, как обычно.
Sätt den där eller där.
I think regardless of where that red stone ended up, this was going to be the shot selection. Swedish guys don't want to give up a steal before half-time here. That would really undo a lot of good work in this first half. And this is close. Oh, terrific shot from Christian Lindstrom. Makes them all go away.
Yep, you heard the bang, bang, bang there. Bang, bang, bang for Sweden.
Ja, höll den bra. Fick till den här lite mer utåt.
Yeah, and that's going to make things a lot easier for Oscar Eriksson. And the Swedish guys will be more than happy to blank here in the fifth end.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Off we go.
Could not have hit that any flusher.
Lite mer tryck i den här också. Eller fart liksom.
So it's like a blank sheet of paper again.
Till line. Till line. Начало ти.
6-4 до.
4 фута.
Контроль вес.
These are the skip's stones, the fourth player's stones.
Сам. Даже Ти плюс.
Не, наберет.
Ти плюс. Stå bort. Rent. Oh.
It looks like this fifth end is going to be blanked,
Rent.
barring a mistake from either skip on their last stone. And Sweden will be quite happy to have the hammer in the sixth end as they start to think about controlling the scoreboard and having the hammer in the even ends. And of course, the advantage of that is that if you take the hammer in the even ends now, then of course we've got 5 ends to come, so you get 3 opportunities with the last stone to the opposition's 2, and you also get that all-important last stone in the last end if scores were traded back and forth, as you would expect them to be.
It's a significant advantage.
Looks an awful long away, but Oscar Eriksson, I'm sure, will be able to make this take out and spring this one from the rings.
So impetus from that back leg. And away it goes.
Beauty of a slide.
Suits Sweden right down to the ground.
Slide
The blank end. Teams head into the break. After the first 5 ends, some refreshment, a chat with the coach, nip to the toilet, and on to the second half. And after 5, Russia 2, Sweden 3.
Half-time here in draw 7, and look at the story so far. Second end, after a steal for Russia in the first, here's Oscar Eriksson, the Swedish skip, coolly drawing the 4-foot circle to put the first deuce of the game on the board, and Sweden leading Russia by 2 shots to 1. Third end. A brave call here from the Russian team. Alexei Stukalski going for an angled raise double. Could have just drawn the 4-foot, went for the riskier shot. Just over curls, a fraction too much, but still gets one of those yellows out of there and keeps Russia alive, but now trailing by 2 shots. Sweden 3, Russia 1. Fourth end, even more trouble for Russia. Sweden lying 3, and Alexei Stukalski having to play a difficult double takeout to score here in the 4th end. This is a real game saver. Terrific shot by the Russian skip. And half time here. It's Sweden 3, Russia 2. Well, while our featured teams are stocking up, let's take a look at USA and Germany. The US leading by 4 shots to 2, and here's the veteran skip Pete Fenson, 2006 Olympic bronze medalist, and trying to make a hit and stick here. Does a great job, scores the deuce, and now USA leading Germany by 6 shots to 2. Of course, Germany suffering their first loss this morning. Could they be handed their second here in draw 7? Elsewhere, Czech Republic trailing China by 4 shots to 1. We saw their US 6-2 over Germany, and Switzerland cruising against Scotland, taking another 3 in the 4th end to lead by 6 shots to 2 there.
Привести меня туда
Не загоняй, Жень.
Well, that's Evgeny Arkhipov, the skip and second player for the Russian team.
Я не очень
Still relatively inexperienced,
в итоге мы поставили
but
гол, сыграли за него.
Russia hanging tough with Sweden at the moment.
Все нормально, 37 как раз.
Жень, в общем, ты skip, ты думаешь,
Nej, mer proteiner här.
Ja, vi måste ju gå dit igen. Vi har ju inte varit där på länge. Ja, jo, men...
Well, as usual, Oscar Eriksson and his team with Mattias Moberg and Pelle Lindholm having a bit of a laugh and a joke. Really funny guys. But they know when they step back onto the ice, it's game time. And they'll be pulling out all the stops to put Russia away here. They have been the better team so far. Certainly in the takeout department. Leading by nearly 20% there. Peter Grahn gets this second half underway.
5, просто 5 очень
The
хорошо будет. Линии
Russian
пока
lead
больше.
and Russia trailing by
Пока
3
больше
shots to
линий.
2
Серега
here
первый. Серега первый.
in this 7th round matchup against
Линию.
Sweden. If you've just joined us, welcome to the CPT World Men's Curling Championships 2014, coming to you live from the Beijing Capital Gymnasium, Beijing, China. I'm Logan Gray, and alongside me Alison Walker, and we're bringing you live coverage of Draw 7, Sweden and Russia. Sweden, despite being the better of the two teams, not really converting it into points on the scoreboard so far. Russia very much hanging in there with some terrific last stones from Alexis Tukalski. Of course, just a reminder, Sweden on 2 wins and 2 losses. Trying to stop themselves from losing 3 games on the bounce, while Russia currently on 1 win and 3 losses. And really needing a win here to stay in contention for the playoffs.
Приз! Начало дома! Приз 6! Посмотри, Серега. 6, пропусти 4 линии больше! Серега первый! Серега! Тилань!
Начало 6.
4 фута. Нет линии. Сам вес.
Well, really needs to stay in front of this Yellowstone. Nice shot there by Peter Grahn. Would have liked that a little bit closer to the face of that Yellowstone, and presents an opportunity for Kristoffer Sundgren to make the come around.
Samma fart, nästan lite längre.
Bak 4.
Nej, samma
fart.
Lite längre än här. Linjen är bra, om farten är bra bara. Den är lite längre, det kommer dutta lite.
Dutta tjapp eller?
Ja, den sätter sig nu.
Upp!
Kom igen. Ingenting på gul.
Fan. Okej.
Давай колодку! Колодка не сильней!
Well, a good shot there from Kristoffer Sundgren. Just pokes his nose out the other side, playing 84% through the first half. Just in line with his tournament accuracy so far. And the interesting thing, just by bouncing out the other side like that, it's really changed the side that all the play will come down.
Evgeny Arkhipov.
He's playing 75% so far today. At that weight, I think they were maybe going for a kind of hack weight takeout. Maybe better throwing a freeze. They were always going to leave some sort of pocket for Sweden to come into here.
Okej, tryck ut dem här. Så är okej också, Marcus. Ja, det är också bra. Okej. Sari, ta det lugnt, ta det lugnt. Bara rent. Sari, var med. Ja! Var med. Lite dryg. Lite dryg. Dryg Sari. Ja! Nej. Jag har fan inte vilken ut. Kommer nu. Okej, så. Ja. Och spel.
Тоже колодка, Жень. Лех, не надо уже ставить. Сколько сейчас было?
39.
Okay, so Arkipov's going to go after this same takeout.
Колодка! Сип! Поменьше веса, чем тот! Да! Воу! Колодка!
Да!
Есть колодка!
Just nice controlled tap back weight.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
So I would suggest you probably want to put this Yellowstone through the rings. Don't want one of those cheeky little ones biting on at the back like that.
That's just what you didn't want.
Yeah, you can see the handle just stopped there and it wasn't really spinning to keep it running.
Надо было это, да, чуть подождать.
Vilken fart vill du ha? Det där eller så? Det känns ju... Den är helt okej från det här hållet.
Om de vickar in då på den här vänstra är dåligt.
Lira den. Ja. Gör alltid den om han rundar in den här. Ja, visst. Jag har ju i princip hela så 95. Nej, lira den. Jag dubbeln så bra. Vilken fart vill du ha? Jag kan... Du vill ha mjukare, kan jag tänka mig det. Normal. Ja.
Well, bit of a discussion from the brothers here.
What's his concern?
Oh, I'm not too sure. I think they're aware that there's a little bit more curl on this side of the sheet coming off the barrier. Probably just discussing weight as much as anything. So crucial that you have these conversations before you play a shot, and then you avoid any miscommunications where you may throw the wrong way, or maybe the player's throwing it exactly how they thought the shot was supposed to be played. But if the skip doesn't know that, then something is going to go wrong somewhere along the line. So doesn't manage to make the double takeout and spins out the left-hand side of the rings there as we look at it.
So the discussion doesn't always work.
No, absolutely. It's always easy to do it on paper, but
Or indeed from up here.
well,
watching these guys.
Well, absolutely, and that's why some of us are up here, not down there, Alison.
Indeed. Yeah.
So Alexei Glukov likes to throw a lot of handle in this in turn. Looks like he's found a nice path here. Well, a really nice shot.
He has upped his game. The youngster in the Russian team. Looking in better shape in the second half.
Вы говорит колодка. Колодка выходит. Я же не знал, что он так слабо-то. Не, я думал, что он выйдет, честно.
Säkert Sari.
Se till så tar ni över den där längst bak då.
Ja, exakt. Halvträff så rullar vi ut hit ungefär.
Sari.
Recent addition to the team, and these are Olympians he's playing with, so it's a big step up for him.
Sari, bra fart. Wow. Wow. Helt hård. Helt upp. Lite hård. Helt upp, helt upp, helt upp. Bra Krille. Bra lead. Ja.
Well, Russia still lying in short position here, but they'll be a little bit concerned by these two Yellowstones nibbling on to the outer parts of the house.
Можно стеграть, можно пытаться сюда.
Well, the draw would be a very aggressive call here. But could be the right one. Depends what they're trying to achieve here. Are they trying to steal, or are they trying to force Sweden to score one? So simple enough to allow Russia to lie to at the moment here.
Gives you some idea of the distance this stone has to travel and be as accurate as possible.
Whoa! Up! Whoa! Нет! Поднять!
Поднять.
Yeah, that is a spinny in-turn, Alison. A spin turn. Well, Hitson rolls out, and now Sweden have the chance that they were looking for. They're going to hit this red stone and hopefully lie to. Don't think they'll be too interested in rolling behind the centre guard here. They're just going to shrink the scoring zone. They'll want to stay out wide here.
Bra fart!
86% for Christian Lindström.
Yep!
That's good stuff.
Yeah, he's having a good game, Christian. He's putting another good shot here.
Oh!
And Kenny gets stuck in the middle. Doesn't quite make the roll, doesn't make the hit and stick. And leaves a good chance for either a double take out, or it's just a short roll to get in behind the centre guard.
Says Sergei, it's 56%. There's draw 75, take out 47, which adds up to the 56.
Well, I'm not too sure exactly what the selected shot is here. Alexis Tukalski is having a good game though to keep Russia alive, really, playing 83%.
Yep, he's been the mainstay in the team.
Whoa! Давай стей. Whoa! Whoa! Пять очков!
Федерал, Сим!
Well, they went for the hit and roll there. And didn't quite make it. Maybe slightly more decisive. And they might have made the double instead. But again, got just stuck in between two shots.
Ser vi att den inte går, då håller vi den så bara.
Jag tänkte bara det är
95%.
ganska troligt att kör vi för säkert får inte gå i den där. Då kommer vi få lite utsida så tar vi med sån där och så får han vilken linje.
Well, there's no doubt the easier shot is to play the hit and roll to the wing. If they wanted to be a little bit brave, they could try and get to the inside of that red and roll their shooter behind the guard and lie both of their stones behind the guard, maybe even score 3 that way. I think the smart decision is to push that red out through the house the way we're looking right now and roll over to the wing, and it should be a safe 2 that way.
3-2, sixth end. Oscar Eriksson just... I think sometimes curlers see things that aren't there, don't they, in the ice? %83 for Oscar.
Bra fart! 11. Lite hårt! 11-0.
Yep!
Same as the
Lite
Russian
hårt!
fourth.
Yep! Janet! Janet!
Hårt! Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Jump! Jump! Jump!
Whoa! 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 Take!
Well, terrific shot from Oscar.
10-5.
Stukalski's next hit. Extremely difficult to not leave an easy shot for Oscar's last.
Средним? Средний ты хочешь? Страна непредсказуема. Угол, мы ж не видим ничего.
You know what, Alison, I think Evgeny Arkhipov down there has got a pretty good deal. He only has to do a little bit of sweeping. Sorry, he doesn't have to. Yeah, doesn't have to do any sweeping, and he throws the second stone, so he doesn't even have to deal with the pressure of throwing the last stones. So, but he must be the tactical genius out there, the guy with all the strategy.
And this is the man with the bottle. Throws the final stones.
Yeah, and he actually made some terrific performances at the European Championships in Stavanger this year. So I think they're trying to make a long roll there. Hasn't quite managed to do so, and will be a hit and stick for two for Sweden to open up a well-deserved 3-shot lead.
And the Russians finishing 6th in Stavanger.
Yeah,
One of their best performances of the Europeans in recent years. Although they were also 5th in Karlstad a couple of years before.
So here it is, final stone of the 6th end. And Oscar Eriksson should be pretty straightforward. Well, there's a style of his own. It's very, he gives it quite a lot of arm action when he lets the stone go to get it where it needs to go. But he's just an incredible shot maker and gets the job done there once again.
And Nibbler at the outside. They all count. Six ends played here. It's now Russia 2, Sweden 5.
С полной уверенностью, что он выйдет. Ну ничего страшного, все нормально. Мы без последнего отдали 2.
Let's catch up on the USA against Germany. In the 6th end, USA 6-2 ahead. Luke Schultz with the last stone for Germany.
Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
And up against it a little bit in this game. Oh, and he misses it completely, so misses out on his chance to claim 1 there. And it's a steal of 1 for the United States. And that means after 6, USA 7, Germany 2. Don't quite know what went wrong there.
Yeah, and actually just watching Felix Schulze just now makes me want to bring up something without mentioning the name of the sponsor that's on their tops. It's a ceramic company who's looking at the possibility of having ceramic inserts for curling stones, which is supposed to be more hard wearing and possibly make the stones curl more. So they're kind of looking at that kind of technology at the moment to see if it could be something that's applied to curling stones, and maybe that's something for the future of the sport.
So that would, you mean in terms of the top of the stone or inside the stone, or would it replace the blue hone granite in the stone, or?
No, I think we're talking. There'd still be granite stones. It would just be that they would have ceramic inserts in the bottom of the stone, the actual running surface of the stone.
25, 25, 25, 26, 25. 25.
I think that would have to be tried and tested before any kind of changes would be made, because nothing has proved better than the blue hone granite at this stage. Up go the guard.
12! Satte förra mjuk. Ja.
Always got to be thinking of ways to improve the quality of the equipment, of the play, all the dynamics of the sport, Logan, always evolving. And curling is quite good to embrace that.
Linjen är bra.
Nära.
Linje. Kör, kör.
I did hear in Canada a suggestion about using the alternate. Every team should use their alternate at least once during the round robin. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. It's something nice, like the Olympic Games. There's, I think in the past you didn't even get a medal if you were the 5th man for the team, but it is such a pivotal role for all teams these days. They're so heavily involved in everything the team does, and the team relies so heavily on the alternate. But I think it would be something nice anyway for the alternate to be able to play, but I don't know how much extra it contributes to the competition. But
Just add another element of uncertainty, perhaps. The alternate would really have to be up to scratch. Really would be a 5-man playing team. Okay, sheet B, Czech Republic against China, 6th end. Last stone from Nito.
Lite mer dit, ska du trycka rakt. Ja.
I was trying to blank the end there and only removes one of the stones. So it's going to be a steal there for China, and China now leading the Czechs by 5-1.
Yep.
This one's our featured game though, Russia against Sweden.
Yep. Rullar över där.
So just to turn the alternate
Bättre släpp. Var lite tight på
playing
fallet.
chat around a little bit, Alison, it could almost be that you have a secret weapon on the bench that you bring in for certain games, or maybe you're playing against a team that you want to employ a certain game plan, then it could add an extra dimension to it from that perspective.
Not many sports where the substitute or the alternate doesn't really get a look in. In most sports they do, apart from curling.
Well, we will wait with bated breath.
24-25.
Maybe they'll consult us.
4-5.
I highly doubt that. I don't think we have that kind of credibility, Alison.
Stöj надо.
Шестой. Вот где щетки параллельно, чтобы были они.
So here's Arkhipov, who has been the alternate himself for this Russian team. Doesn't have to worry about when he's going to get on the ice. He's very much a central part of this
Ligger en kvart,
Russian
sten
team
längre
these
dit
days.
bara. Ja.
And again throws the corner guard. Sweden lying 2 on the centre line at the moment.
Marcus Eriksson,
Upp. Nej.
older brother of the skip,
Alir.
gets rid of both of them.
Alir. Om man kan.
Yeah, both of those corner guards go. And now all the play is going to be dragged into the centre where Sweden want it.
Yep, Sweden dictating play here. Certainly seem tactically superior to this Russian team in this game.
I've got to say as well, I think their shot execution's been that a little bit better than the Russians too.
Агао. Легко. Агао. Воу. Есть. Воу. Серега. Сип до конца. Да.
Well, that's nicely worked into that spot by the Russian sweepers.
Yeah, really good freeze there. It's going to be a difficult one for the
13-7 hade jag på
Swedes
deras.
to remove. It's behind staggered guards as well, so there's no direct raise onto the red
Dess
stone
i
at the
luft
moment.
där, men de ligger spikrakt i linje. Deras bajtar 4, så precis full 8 i frysen.
So having to try something a little bit more aggressive, going right out to the boards on this drop.
Topp 8. Skulle vilja gå lite för linje. 8-4. Ja, helst inte. Okej. Bara om ni måste. 4. Dutt. 4. Dutt. Bra fart nu. Nej.
It's been a really nice line here. Super shot from Christian.
Alltså, hon har gått lite för linje.
Incidentally, Christian actually used to throw last stones for most of their junior career together with Oscar. They changed things up. Now he throws third and Oscar throws the last stones.
I wonder how that decision was arrived at. Oh, you're better than me?
I'm not too sure. I think it's just knowing your players and trying to put out the strongest lineup that you can. But I think part of it also could be that the traditional format, the traditional lineup. I think there's a slightly better rhythm to your team's play, and if you've got somebody who's skipping and then having to come down and throw stones in the middle of the end to go back again, it can hurt your time clocks and it can disrupt your flow a little bit. So could well be part of it. Having said that, a lot of teams have had success with something a little bit.
Well, it's whatever works
different
for the team, I suppose, and all teams are different.
Rulla och dutta lite här.
Squeezes into the
det är det
rings.
bästa. Och dutta fri den.
And Oscar won't be too keen to leave that one lying around. It's an easy double take out at the front of the house as things sit at the moment. Just looking at where he can roll to with this next one. He won't want to hit this one on the nose and leave a corner guard.
Ingen hårdare. Nej, då är det risk att vi trycker ut den sämre. 7,5 till 8 är bra. Tjock halv. Rulla dit, trycka lite. Rätt så rakt här då. Utifrån. Ja. Hård. Kom med.
Ja! 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 Jävligt!
Wow.
No, hits it too thin.
Låg bra tycker jag.
However, Sweden are still lying shot position in there.
7-5 på den
But
grillen.
now, I think we'll see Russia try and make this double at the front of the rings.
Kändes hårdare. Man brukar alltid tro i de där
So here's a dilemma for you, Logan.
faserna.
If this young Swedish team were to do very, very well in these championships, perhaps even to win the gold medal, how would that place with Team Edin and who represents who?
Well, I think it would be a great position for P. Lindholm, the Swedish national coach. He would have he does have two terrific teams to choose from, regardless of the outcome this week. I don't think it would really change anything. It'd be great to have two reigning world champions really from Sweden, but I'm sure they'll have, although it's a chosen kind of format, I think when you've got two teams that are that good, they'll probably have some sort of a qualification system to back it up. I think if you had the 2013 world champions, 2014 world champions, then you might have to say, okay, let's have a playoff, or let's base it on points from the World Curling Tour or other events, that sort of thing. It would be really harsh to make it completely subjective.
Ja, jag tror det. Garden då? Inget alternativ?
So it's a high maintenance problem, in other words. A good problem.
Lite
Det ligger ganska högt också.
Well, definitely, and
Låg ett strå där.
I think it's definitely a sign that P. Lindholm's doing a great job with these teams, and he himself had such a successful career, 3 times world champion. He's already turned, or certainly contributed to Niklas Edin's team becoming world champions, and maybe Oscar Eriksson will be one day too.
Well, they certainly seem to have the grip of this game by the scruff of the neck at the moment. Certainly controlling it.
So Oscar's just peeled that guard off, and he knows that Russia probably need to make a play on these 2 stones. They can't afford to leave them around. In the event that Oscar decided to call their bluff and throw a guard on it, then it might be difficult for them to score. So I would think a good hit required and a roll to try and get the red stones as far apart as possible and hope for a miss.
Быстрее, ребят, время идет.
Фриз или гар? Ой, фриз или бить?
Везде думаете.
Well, and this is the other option they're discussing right now. It's whether to freeze, but then you do risk Oscar Eriksson throwing a guard with his last one.
Мне кажется, поставили. Они только что думали насчет гарда. Уже.
Давай на 2 сыграем.
Ты поставишь, если он даже поставит его...
А 8 уже будем вязаться.
Слышь, Лех, даже если ты поставишь камень идеально фризом, если он прикроет половину камня твоего, то тебе очень сложный бросок, наконец, на +3 остается.
Но на +3, а не на...
А если он поставит по центральной линии, то ты повезешь в пятак. Да. Если он поставит идеальный фриз, то ты повезешь в пятак. И это будет еще сложнее.
Давай.
С этой стороны сыграем?
С какой хочешь?
Давай с этой.
Борт?
Борт, да.
Okay, so great to see how the Canadian terms get pulled into other non-English speaking teams curling, but I think I heard them say they're going to throw board weight, which is just a kind of a controlled takeout weight, and they're going to try and play this hit and roll as I suggested. I think it's important for the Russians at the moment to know, although they're trailing by 3, they do have the last stone, and their focus should be on just scoring 2 and getting back into this game.
Yep. Canadians get everywhere, don't they?
Чуть больше. Оп, 0. 0.
So Stukalski's just going to put the out turn and try and make a big roll to the outside of the rings. Looking pretty good. Needs to hang around. Oh, this is
Doesn't. Spins out.
That's a massive let off for Sweden. Just completely misjudged the sweeping on that one. They did tap the brushes down at one point, and it's just rolled a few inches too far.
Fan, tur att han spelade den uppgiften för då. Ja, jag hade fan dragit frysen med det här underläget. Om man stannar kort liksom så. Lite till. Ja. Lite extra. Håll igång. Den. Bak. Nej, bra fart.
Well, this could be a difficult one for the Russians to come back from. They were in great shape to score a deuce and get right back into this one, and it's the first mistake we've really seen from Stukalski. It's so important that they have a good chat in between the ends and lift themselves and just restart, refocus, and make a good run at the 8th end. It's not an easy thing to do, that being said.
So all clear, all blank. Russians regroup, start again in the 8th end. Advantage very much with these guys. Swedes after 7, Russia 2, Sweden 5. Hop forward to the States against Germany. See what's going on there. 7th end, 7-2 to the USA. We've seen a few from Felix Schultz that haven't quite worked out. What about this one? Last stone, 7th end for Germany. Not working out for him there either. Still have 1 to the States. After 7 ends, United States 8, Germany 2. So well in control there, Pete Fenson of the USA. Here it's 5-2 to Sweden on sheet A. You're watching live coverage of the CPT World Men's Curling Championship 2014. Alison Walker And Logan Gray
Lägg den här.
bringing you the action from the Capital Gymnasium here in Beijing. Good to have you with us. Hope you're enjoying the action. And Sweden, Logan, expect them to see this one out.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been the better team in pretty much every end so far, but Russia's still in touching distance. And that being said, I don't think Sweden have been at their absolute best,
Kör ni, lite
but
tight.
certainly doing enough to keep this Russian team at bay.
Men,
We haven't had to have too many
kom igen, den skenar nu.
long-winded discussions as yet about what, where and how to do. They've just gone about it.
Bra gnugg. Skar till där vid over. Ja, det är på
Yeah, it's
den.
been reasonably straightforward.
Ja, det
Big
är på den.
sweep there from Eriksson and Lindstrom. Doesn't quite get that in the position they would hope for.
Хорошо. 5 хорошо.
Well, I think for Russia to have any realistic chance in this game, they need to put 2 or more on the board in this end.
Да, Леха первый, Леха первый. Чуть-чуть можно для линии. Сип! Сип вдвоем. Сип! 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 Супер.
Well, that corner guard's a little bit too close to the centre line for my liking. Gets away in the way of the intern draw. They probably want it on the tee
Inget
of
gigantiskt hår, men
CPT.
stäm du. Ja, gör det.
Probably.
Du ska vara i här så är det okej.
Maybe
Okay.
even just to the outside of that would be a perfect spot.
Lite mjukt satt va?
Tryckte på den rätt bra.
Vänstermatcherna kommer att börja köra tidigt.
Ja, kör om ni vill. Gärna gå. Ja, kör ni. Bra fart, bra fart. In är bra. Räcker i fart. Bra. Ja, framför T-line. Ingenting. Ja. Fel. Hugget precis innan linan.
Just over curls again there.
Ja.
Comparison of the leads. Petr Dron, Sundgren. Sundgren slightly ahead on all
Сережа первый.
counts.
Сип, Сережа первый. Сип.
5-6.
Здесь есть. Только
Still
линия.
good numbers for the Russian.
На счет.
Воу! На счет.
Сип.
Сип. Сип.
Сереж, ты определись, что ты
So
первый.
gets those guards nice and level, so there's no double takeout.
То линия оп, то линия.
Ja. Hårt! Järnet!
Well, Sweden don't want to leave anything around really, and that's a mistake from Marcus Eriksson. And I think you can see quite clearly what Marcus thinks about that one.
Yeah, no further explanation required.
Борт, Жень, борт!
Yeah, there's no point in his sweepers going down and giving him a hard time about it. He knows exactly how poor a shot that was.
There he is compared to Arkhipov. He's still ahead in terms of the hits. But total percentage, Arkhipov is ahead.
Поднять.
Борт.
Сип.
Сейчас ныряй.
Får vi träff här så? Eller är det för nära?
So I think Oscar just looking at how many stones he could even remove
Får
here.
den att gå lite dit? Borde gå.
Whether he can
Ja.
hit this red-yellow
Värsta fall tar
combination
vi
at the
bara
top
bort
of your
dem så.
picture and
Ja,
run
en
it onto
tredjedel
the
på den
yellow and
så.
onto the
Det är
red.
ändå okej att bara
Maybe
dubbla
even
det
spring
där
everything
också.
from
Det är så
play.
pass nära
Det är
rakt
svårt
på.
för.
Ja, den ligger lite så, men det är frågan om det är så pass nära att det blir drag i den utåt istället.
Det kan bli drag, men då får vi bort garden i alla fall.
Ja, det är väl en här! Tredjedel!
Well, even
Har
in
vi tur
Swedish,
så
I
kan
heard the
den
word
klicka
drag
den och
used a lot
sitta
there.
så.
So what we're talking about is the drag effect when two stones are really close together. depending on what side of the stone you hit on, then the stone could react slightly differently.
It's quite a risky shot.
I wouldn't say so. I think worst case scenario, they're going to double peel the guards and Russia aren't going to be massively better off. It's still early enough in the end.
Okay.
So what happened there was that they hit the right-hand side of the first stone, and the momentum of the first stone kicked the second one away. This is the drag that they talked about, and even though the stones were lined up onto that yellow stone, it didn't actually make contact. So it just kicked it to the left, which made it miss that yellow stone at the front of the rings. But still a lot of work here to do for Russia, and I think Oscar knew that. So it was worth a go.
It hasn't upset things too much. If you're Swedish, you're still very much on Russia.
Сип до конца. Разгоняем, ребята. Давай, разгоняем. Сип. Давай, еще. И Сережа ролл. Давай.
Ну, блин, с машиной нельзя сыграть. Проще.
Lite kallar.
Chance here for Christian Lindström. Should be a straightforward double takeout. Maybe just set that one back a little bit. And he has done. Stuffs that double. Still gets one of them out though.
Okay.
Lite ut.
Okej. Ja, de måste göra något åt det i alla fall.
Den kom lite, men fan, jag trodde den nästan skulle komma upp i chatt.
Ja.
Просто на край.
Второй луч вот сюда.
Под двойной.
What are Russia looking at here, Logan?
Это двойной.
Well, certainly Glukov's tapping his brush over there to the right-hand side of the house. Just trying to split the rings and take the play away from the centre.
One game has finished, and it is the USA-Germany game, and it is a comprehensive win for the USA, 8-3. The final score on sheet C.
Good rebound.
And that takes the USA on to their second win. And Germany, who had been leading the way early on, are still on 3 victories.
Yeah, the wheels will come off the bandwagon a little bit today, so it'll be interesting to see how Germany bounce back tomorrow. Well, I quite like this call from Russia to come around these yellow stones and try and get a second one in there. It's going to be difficult for them not to leave a raised double, and the one thing I would say about splitting the rings is that it might be more likely that Sweden hit the open stone rather than risking giving up 3. So this could force Sweden to play a shot that could have a better reward. Although this looks like it's curling very, very early. Well, they might have even been going for a freeze there. Give them the benefit of the doubt on that one. But that's not a good spot to finish in. And it should be a straightforward shot here for Christian Lindström to peel both of these reds out. Just going to try and hit that red stone, half stone on the right hand side as we look at it. And I think you'll see that yellow stone in between the 2 reds stick around as well. So Christian Lindström's made a massive error here, and you see there's red lights flashing on the top of that stone, and that indicates a hogline violation. Oh, and how that changes things.
Yep, that's a bit of a break for Russia, for sure. They need to make the most of it now. These things do happen in curling. just when it's all going your way.
Приехал еще Ник.
Либо второй луч.
And of course, if you are new to the sport, the stone needs to be released before a line called the hog line, which you're just about to see now. And the magnetic handle in the stone deemed that Christian hadn't released the stone before that line.
Let's have another wee look.
Looks this
Red line and red light.
so very close. Just the slightest of touches on the stone, and that sets off the red lights. And of course, that stone is removed from play before he even gets a chance to reach the other end.
So, what can Russia do here to make the most of this?
Он говорит, хуже. Сейчас это говорит, пока хуже вас
Can you make this shot around everything out here?
Second stone?
Yeah, around this.
It's a good shot. More curl.
Around.
It curls
His
around,
end.
but look, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be by that yellow. Just in the house anywhere from out here. It doesn't have to guard perfect. You know, like get to the tee line around this
We can
side.
come on back line. 8 feet.
Try for tee line and then see where it goes. Just get by. Back, even if you're in the back of the house. We got to get another one in there because we don't have much to work with here. Huh?
Right here. If you play open draw.
Well, he's going to hit it. Yeah, it's not bad. Okay, open draw is not bad either.
Дабл.
Ну,
Что? Он сказал вести вот
мне больше всего раунд
Да.
нравится.
So Roger Schmidt's
А если вот так?
advice there was probably to draw around
Лучше делать точно.
that yellow stone in third shot position.
Хорошо, неплохо
I'd
стоит.
say the other option is maybe to play the double,
Конец 6
hit the red onto the yellow, onto the red, and roll over and lie 3. They could do that
Я
just now.
согласен. Здесь.
Да.
Но он, правда, сам потом может сыграть дро.
Пусть играет, пусть пробует. Надо напрягать его как-то.
Все, договорились.
Я бы пошире Женечку поставил.
Еще шире? Может не повалить вообще. Пойти по снегам и прямо вот сюда куда-нибудь приехать.
12 точно на желтый завалит.
Here's the stone colours. A reminder: Russia red, Sweden yellow. A lucky break here for Russia with a Swedish hog violation. So their stone was removed from play.
Yes.
Гадаем на край поляны.
Ой, извини, Петь.
Well, Sergei Glukov's had to play pretty well to raise his game to 59%. He was down in the 30s at one point. Christian Lindstrom's been pretty solid until
Разгоняем.
that
Обязательно
huge mental error in the 8th end here.
Сип линия, еще теперь сип. Сип.
Давайте, ребята,
Сип, делай вес. Делай вес.
работай, Свип!
Да.
Давай, 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 Свип!
Needs to get by the rings here.
Ну, Сережа, знаешь,
Just
что
over curls a
широкая
little
сторона,
bit.
кинь ты сильнее.
So it looks like there's almost the same shot available for Sweden here. Big mistake there. Great chance to lie too, and now Oscar's going to blast this front red.
Yeah, the Russians knew what they had to do there and they couldn't quite manage it despite their efforts of the sweepers.
35-40% träff.
And it's almost exactly the same for
Kan ju följa med den om du
Sweden.
kan den röda där. Oj, vi touchar
I
egen
don't think
gul så
Oscar will be
kanske inte blir gigantiskt
violating the
med
hog
fart i
line
den.
here.
Maybe violating some of these red stones though, Alison. Well, this isn't going to be hanging about.
This is their get out of jail card.
Bra led.
Well,
Kör, 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 kör,
not bad. Not bad from Oscar Eriksson.
Nicely played by the Swedish skip. His side were in a spot of bother there.
Yeah, I think we're going to need another look at that one. Look at that. All 3 red Russian stones flying out the rings.
Nothing moving with that yellow one. That yellow staying in exactly the same position. Wow.
Well, that's got to go down as another missed opportunity for the Russians. Not too sure they were ready to grasp that chance. I don't think they were expecting that miss from Christian. He's been absolutely deadly throughout this game.
Yeah, you'll be relieved it's worked out for the time being.
7-0.
Yes.
Oh, this is Alexei Stukalski collecting a very tricky draw.
6 за, 6-4 за.
Trying to come around the stone in the house. This one down to the supers. I want to put this kind of back of the 8 foot. Really good draw. Great shot by the Russian fourth player.
Спасибо, но видишь, он чуть перевалил туда.
Here's the comparisons.
Он с
Slightly
4 футов
behind
что-то съел.
Ericsson. Still decent
Вот туда
numbers.
резко нырнул, видел?
Vilken som är lättast. Och kollar. Ingen fart.
Jag ska kolla.
Well, can we see a fraction of that red stone on the outside?
45%
And once again, it shapes up nicely for a left-hander this shot.
Ingen fart.
I don't think he's going to mess around too much with this one and try and play a control weight.
Yep.
Plenty of speed. Just trying to get that red stone out of there. Oh, just the faintest of touches on that front yellow stone. A wee sweary word there from Oscar. Or two. So it's going to be a straightforward draw to the 8 foot for Stukalski to put a 2 on the board, and Russia still in this game.
Not an end that Sweden will want to remember. Or Russia for that matter. However, if Russia gets something out of it.
Контроль вес. 6 футов просто.
So Alexei Stukalski.
6 футов.
Все отлично, только вес, ребята. Все
Только вес.
отлично.
Протирайте.
14.1, that would indicate that it's got plenty of running to me. And he's got the backing of this red stone anyway. Well, there you have it. 2 reds in the 4 foot and 2 for Russia.
Ну да. Получилось.
And they are
Если бы
still
туда Серега еще принес,
in
было
with a
бы
chance
красиво.
in this game. After 8-10s. Russia 4, Sweden 5.
På kanten eller? Eller rundare?
All 4 sheets being used here in draw 7 in the Capital Gymnasium here in Beijing, China.
Just the one game finished. That's USA and Germany. Victory for the USA, 8-3. So what's happening with Switzerland against Scotland? Let's check on that one. Looks like the final stone from Scotland's Ewan MacDonald, trailing 8-4.
Yeah, Ewan had a chance in the 7th end to try and make a very thin double to score 3 and really bring Scotland back to life in that game. Just hit it maybe an inch too thick, gave up a steal of 1. But they're going to bounce back and put 2 on the board in the 8th end.
Yeah, you can see that yellow just on the outskirts there. 2 counting for the Scots. That narrows the gap after 8 ends. Switzerland 8, Scotland 6. A bit of a turnaround in terms of one end here. What a difference that can make.
Нужен дальний, ребят.
Любой гард. Любой гард.
23, 3-4.
Well, that too makes it a one-shot game, but Russia still with a lot of work to do here, with only 2 ends to go.
Все, вышли из зон.
So they're going to throw 2 centre guards here, I would imagine. And really take a lot of risk here in the 9th end.
Fight 4.
Känns kort va?
Ser helt okej ut. Gärna köra lite om den kan. Byta eller? Ja, gör det. Halva fyrfoten är bra. Ja, kör nu i slut. Ja. Hela vägen.
Japp.
A nice draw from Christopher Sundgren to start the end for Sweden. Puts that in the perfect spot.
Хороший вес.
So Peter Dron is just going to throw another guard up here. They really want to do a good job of blocking up the centre here and trying to apply some pressure to the Swedes.
Сам 26.
Russians might have got a bit of a lift from that last end,
Обратно все. Женя, сюда.
psychologically.
Topp 12. 12-8. 12. 8 är bra, kör. Linje. Stenhårt. Ja.
Oh, this is a mistake here from Christopher. Oh, what happened to that?
Jag vet inte.
Kändes inte så, men det tog ju curl hur tid som helst.
Ja.
Wow, легко! Wow. Легко! Сита! Wow.
Уходим быстрее.
Okay, so a nice takeout there from Evgeny Arkhipov. Rolls behind that long yellow guard. That was a really uncharacteristic mistake from Christopher Sundgren.
Sari plus. Sari.
Japp. Wow. Rent.
Japp.
Rolls back to almost
sorry,
exactly the same
släpp den i
spot
slutet.
as it was before.
Bra spel.
Тот же.
Больше вес.
Легко!
Слабый.
Да! Сип до конца!
Вышли из зоны.
Oh, it's a bit of an odd end so far after that miss from the Swedish lead. Centre line's kind of open, but it's pretty messy, pretty scrappy down there.
It really is stone to stone, isn't it? It's changing quite dramatically after each. Nothing is quite going according to plan.
Ja. Hårt hela vägen. Wow.
Ja!
Kör!
Ja!
Hela vägen in!
Wow!
Ja, bra. Ja, det är väl okej där också kanske.
Well, maybe would have liked that to keep that a little bit closer to the centre line. So the Russians are rushing a little bit. They've only got 9 minutes left on the clock and still an end and a half to play, so we really need to get a move on here.
We've had a few decisions. They've chatted over just a bit too long. And if they run out of time, it's game over for them.
Yeah, and it could be going back to what we were saying earlier, that they don't throw in a traditional format where the skip throws the last stones, skip's throwing the second stones, and there's no doubt that that will contribute to you losing perhaps a couple of minutes even across the length of a full game.
But then again, they are used to doing that, so they should know how to manage their time. But there have been a few unexpected scenarios in this game.
Gör vi den här nu så. Det är bra.
Ja, det ligger svinbra.
Ja.
Sätter den.
Men det är 4/5 Sa du? 4/5.
Does that impact on Sweden? What's happening with the Russian timing issue? Will they, is there gamesmanship? Will they take longer? How does that work?
I think, well, the only way that they could take any advantage of it is maybe by mixing things up, making things more complicated, so that they have to think longer, and maybe they'll make some bad decisions. But otherwise, they I mean, one of the main things about curling as a sport is that you're being faced with a situation, and while it's your turn to play, the opposition can't have any impact on what you're doing. So Sweden, I'm sure, will just be playing their own game. They'll be ignoring what the Russians are doing. And at the end of the day, when you're playing curling, you're just playing against the situations that are in front of you. You don't pay any attention to your opposition, really.
And they'll be trying to make it as complicated as possible anyway. Make it as difficult as possible for their opposition.
Yeah, it kind of depends on the scoreline a little bit. And Sweden are in control, so they want to keep things reasonably clean anyway, so they're not going to junk things up just to try and run the Russians out of time or to make them make bad decisions. They don't have to do that. They already are in a position to win the game.
Yeah, we are in the 9th end. Ends are running out as well as time running out.
Kan vi köra någon hårdare variant eller vi inte slagen inifrån? Normal. Tänk dig typ 8 utifrån igen. Kör typ den vicken bara. Känns som jag aldrig kommer kunna få den sidan då. Nej. Kör normal så här. Okay. Alltså ingen extrem kall. Nej.
Lite hård.
Wow.
Well, the nice thing at the moment for Sweden is that there's not too much clutter on the centre line, getting in the way of them scoring here. And a good shot there by Christian Lindström. Sweden lying 1 here in 9.
Славый! Борт! Славый! Что? Слабый тейк.
Слабый пока.
Fourth player, Stokalski.
Wow! Слабый тейк.
Воу! Поднять! Легко!
Trying to find a way of getting something out of this end for his team.
Makes the double and rolls to the centre line. Nice shot, but unfortunately there's no guards in the centre line.
Yeah, there's 2 stones. There's 2 Russian stones maybe counting, but they're completely exposed.
Gör den nu.
Säkra 1 om vi slår och försöker vicka bakom den.
Också. Vicka bakom egen, ja.
Sen
en 11.
Nej, vänster.
Om vi fryser bort där sen. Blir vi säkert framför? Ja, vi ligger kvar i bot liksom. Topp 4.
En fot kanske.
Känns som att du vill vicka någonstans. Ja, vi vickar ditåt. Hellre för långt, va? Vilken fart? 11. Vicka typ en fjärdedel öppen på den sidan är bra. Eller helgömt.
Here's Oscar Eriksson.
Wow. Yep.
Heading for that.
Yep. Hey.
Let's go firstly in the middle.
Yep.
A really nice shot by Oscar.
10-7, 10-8.
That could be lying in shot position, and that could make things pretty tricky for Russia.
У них лучше.
Well, you're not really supposed to measure your stone with your brush.
Давай, пристеп.
But I've seen a few players doing it this week. So I think the Russians are going to go after this Yellowstone, and even if they can get a good line and just try and bump it, then they could be lying 2 after this stone. And maybe they'll get an uncharacteristic error from Oscar with his last.
The Swedes have used up all their errors. They keep letting the Russians in, don't they?
Легко. Бэклайн. Легко. Бэк-вылет. Бэк-вылет. Да. Сик. Да. Бэклайн. Бэк-вылет. Бэк-вылет.
Я.
Давай. Да. Пошел. Молодец. Вышли.
Great shot by Stukalski.
They're well separated.
I'll tell you what, Alison, if I was Oscar Eriksson, I'd be thinking, what do I need to do to shake these guys off? Sweden seem to be controlling the ends, and then they just don't.
Just finish it off.
Yeah, that's all it requires, is a little bit of a finishing touch at the moment. So. Well, this looks to me like Oscar's going to call a takeout in this back red, which is potentially a more difficult shot than just playing a straight draw, but what it does do is it really stops the potential for you to lose 2. So that's the thinking here. You can still lie shot by hitting this stone, but it needs to be very accurate to lie shot.
It's an important stone for Oscar Eriksson, the Swedish skip.
Samma.
The stone of this 9th end. Sweden 5-4 up.
I think everyone's pretty happy with this one. Really nice shot by Oscar. See, it's not shot position by much, but
it still is. That's the important thing. Under a bit of pressure. The Swedish skip there comes good. Sweden extend their lead by 1 after 9. Russia 4, Sweden 6.
Он когда поедет, ты уже в колодочке протрись. Целиком? Да.
But if you're Russia, Logan, you're still feeling you're in with a shout.
yeah, well, they are only 2 shots behind. Still a difficult spot for them. They're going to have to score a deuce here in the 10th end, and then still probably steal in the extra.
Switzerland against Scotland on sheet D, coming towards the end of the game there too. It's 8-6 to Switzerland in the 9th end, and it's Benoit Schwartz, 4th player, with the final stone of this 9th.
Yeah, he's facing a couple here, so full attention required. Needs to only hit the 8 foot, however.
He's usually pretty accurate with these ones, the youngster.
Yeah, he's got nerves of steel for a young man. First made a few appearances at the Olympics on the ice.
He did, and loved every minute of it, and his team are going well there after 9. They're 9-6 ahead, so Scotland have it all to do in that 10th end. But this one isn't over by any means. We could be going to an extra end if Russia can manage to get a couple to level things up. Sweden would just want to finally get them finished off.
Bra linje, grym linje. Ja.
Ja, farlig. Han var inte kort.
Bra det.
Well, Russia are short of time, and they're going to have to be very decisive here in this final end.
Свип линия.
They're going to have to throw a lot of draws as well, so
Напорт надо, напорт.
draws.
Takes up a lot longer than takeouts.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's it's one of the main arguments going on in
Ganska hög va?
world curling at the moment is whether we should
Curlar ju
use
sent där.
the existing
8.
method of timekeeping, or should we switch to the thinking time?
And what's your view?
Well, I think as a sport we want to make it attractive to watch and also fun to play. So we want aggressive curling, we want lots of stones in play, which means lots of draws and guards being played, which of course they take up more time. And at the moment with the current system, the teams who want to do that, they're penalised because they don't have as much time to think about it because their stones are running down the ice. So I think anything that assists the more aggressive teams, or certainly stops teams being more defensive just as a result of time rather than the strategy of the game, it can only be a good thing. So it is a method that's being tested and piloted, and it seems to work very well, so there's no reason why we shouldn't move to that system in the next couple of years.
Хорошая линия.
Он ниже будет, давай ближе
Давай,
возьмем.
давай, шестой, шестой.
Can't keep everybody happy though.
Давай, давай.
Свип. В момент только не быть. Не надо быть в доме. Можно еще. Свип, свип, свип. Хорош.
Че, он сейчас один гард убирает, за нет везем?
Oh, tight corner guard goes up this time.
Со скольки?
I'm sure we'll be getting a check on the clock very soon.
Ja, skit i det.
See
Jag var lite
how
mer
much
på
time we
förra
have
träffet.
left.
Jag sätter bättre nu. Ja.
Tunga!
Ja! 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 Ja!
Soon we just want to keep things open here, clear
Oh, is it?
everything up.
Kom igen!
Oh, he's only gone and got them both. Super shot from Marcus Eriksson.
Ja, sätter den ändå.
Got small Swedish support in today who really enjoyed that one.
And he enjoyed it too.
Ja, låg fan för bra för
One,
att släppa alltså.
and away goes the other.
That is an extremely tough double he's just made.
They were miles apart as well, weren't they?
25!
Сейчас свип.
25! 25!
Воу.
Иероглифы.
Вау.
Шестой.
Пятый.
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 Все, хорошо.
That shot from Marcus Eriksson should make life a lot easier for the Swedes. Single takeout surely required.
Ja! Hårt! Ja.
Still a few stones lying around in the house for Russia to use. Could certainly draw around that one at the top of the rings there.
Not hanging about, Markibov.
Пятый. Пятый.
Контроль. Воу, воу, воу. Воу.
Такой же. Оу, чуть выше.
Воу.
Это 6.
6.
Какой? Куда вы тереть там?
Шестой.
Шестой.
Нормальное сужение.
Шестой. Säkra pins nu.
Sure, Christian Lindstrom's taking a little bit more care over his releases now to make sure that they get off before the hog line. When he has managed to do that, he's been absolutely deadly accurate.
Yeah, apart from that one blemish, he's had a very good game.
Тэп.
There we go. 3, 56, 55, 54. It's Keeps moving the wrong way.
I think they'll be pretty comfortable now, though. They've got only 3 stones to come after this one, so should manage just fine. It can still have an impact on the execution of the shots, though. Players can get in the hack and just rush them a little bit, and quite often when you're rushing, you throw the stone more heavily, or when you've got a bit of adrenaline going.
Yeah, it's bound to have an effect.
Well, just 3 stones to come here for Russia, and if they want to extend this game, they need to score with 2 of them. Well, I would suggest if they're moving this yellow stone in the 8-foot circle, they probably want to roll over to the other side of the rings and try and open up this yellow stone at the front of the house as a corner guard. Don't really want to leave it on the nose. It's going to be very easily removed along with this yellow stone that they want to use as a guard. And I would say that is an extremely good result somehow.
I'm sure that wasn't quite what they intended.
Yeah, I just wonder if it maybe picked up. Certainly there didn't seem to be any panic, and then all of a sudden it was catching the guard, so they were trying to hit it on the nose. I don't think that was the right call, but they've ended up with an even better result than what they were going for. They pushed one back of the tee line that they can freeze on as well.
Really spilled out in their favour.
Frysa, då är nog precis bättre, så vi behöver vicka in lite i alla fall. Men även vicka ända hit är ju rätt bra. Eller?
Han är frysning mot den då.
Men det känns svårare än att frysa ner mot den i alla fall. Försök vicka upp på linan lite över. Ja. Vart vill vi vicka? Upp på linan typ, eller lite längre. Ja.
Well,
I alla fall vicka in en
there's absolutely no doubt as to what the shot selection is here for Oscar Eriksson. It is a takeout on that red stone. All the discussion is about where they want to leave their shooter, or where they want to leave it at all. I would imagine they probably just want to roll over to the top of the 4-foot somewhere with this one.
The first of Oscar Eriksson's 2 stones. Nice. The 10th end.
Upp! Helt upp! Helt upp! Marcus! Hårt! Kom igen! Grymt liv. Snyggt. Sorry för att jag släppte det.
Well, couldn't have done too much better there, Oscar Eriksson. And I think this one might even be too much for Alexei Stukalski, who's been absolutely heroic today to keep Russia in this game.
Еще надо попробовать его выбить. Ну а что ты хочешь? Вот так привести? Он так вот ударит. Это будет проще.
Что-то оттолкнуть хочешь? Давай.
There is always a way. What is it, Logan?
Good question, Alison. He needs to hide a red stone somewhere, that's for sure. He needs to get one in behind the yellow stone, whether he draws around these 2 yellows and hopes that Oscar misses the guard, or whether he comes down and plays a takeout on the one on the button and rolls behind the yellows. Not sure, but
Well, he's at 4 draws and 94%.
I don't think moving this Yellowstone at the top of the 4-foot really helps him at this point. It's going to leave too easy a takeout for his last stone, for Oscar's last stone. So it should be a straightforward peel. There's a bit of a pocket of stones here.
Halvträff är nog där nere.
Ja, jag tror halvträff är den. Så länge vi inte stickar den på en halv.
Tredjedel.
Och halvträff så sitter den.
Tredjedel. Ja, man över.
think he kind of knows that perhaps this is it. All depending on what Eriksson does with this, his final stone.
Well, this one's still backing off. Needs to curl a little bit. Oh, and can you believe it?
My goodness.
Just over.
He can't believe it.
Just overthrew that a little bit. Runs all the way back. And that can be the disadvantage in sort of giving it a lot of wrist action. Stone can just continue to run back rather than just relying on the momentum that he has from the hack.
Just a wee bit of an adrenaline pumping thing there going on. But Tuchalski still has to make this shot to get 2 red ones in there counting.
Well, it's not a gimme, Alison, but certainly very makeable.
And who would have thought? Final stone of this 10th end. If Russia get 2 here, they level things up and we go to an extra end. And they make it, and they can hardly believe that opportunity. 2 counting red stones for the Russians, and we go to an extra end. And we are wondering what happened there. Still have the hammer, the last stone advantage. And they'll be irritated because it's down to them, Logan. They've let the Russians in.
Absolutely, Alison. I think that they know that was the game 1. That was a shot that Oscar will make 9 times out of 10. But as we said before, it's time to refocus, restart, and get the job done. They're still in a position where they're going to win probably 8 times out of 10. So they just need to make sure that they put that behind them, execute every single shot, and then put that point on the board. They don't want to go for a 3rd loss in a row. So a very efficient last few ends there from Russia, somehow scoring 2 in the 10th end to go with their 2 in the 8th. There goes Sweden already lying 2. Just had to get that red stone out of there to win the game. Came out, and you see just a little bit too much fingers, and it's still backing off when it gets to the other end of the ice. And removes one of their own yellows to make things even simpler for Tuchalski. So that red lying 2nd shot now, and a nice controlled takeout here from Alexis Tuchalski. Let's say for somebody who's not played a lot in the skip position or in the 4th thrower's position at international level, he has been extremely cool under pressure since taking up that mantle at the European Championships this season. And we are underway in the 11th. If you've just joined us, we're in overtime here at the World Men's Curling Championship 2014, live from the Beijing Capital Gymnasium in Beijing, China. And our featured games, Sweden and Russia. Sweden really dictating the game, but just haven't managed to put the finishing touches on. Oscar Eriksson's had a great game, but just a lapse in concentration with that last stone in the 10th end to win the game, and We're going to have to do it all again one more time here. Well, that's a super shot from Kristoffer Sundgren. Chips that red centre guard over to the side. And if you've got a lead that can do that, it just makes Oscar Eriksson's job so much easier when it comes to making that last winning stone.
Линия норма. Линия норма, только вес.
Вес есть, 23. 23.
Хорошо.
23, 24 дальше. Чуть ниже щетки.
Хорош.
So an update from Sheet D all the way on the other side of the Capitol Gymnasium, and that's Ewan McDonald. Not off to a great start this week. Winless so far, and here they are up against Switzerland, trailing by 3 in the 10th end. And looks like this one's going to crawl into the rings for a score of 3. I can tell you that Benoit Schwartz had an open hit for the game. The Swiss guys started celebrating as the stone crossed the hog line, and then the curling god struck, and the stone picked up and missed everything completely to leave you in an open draw for 3. So heartbreaking stuff for Benoit Schwartz, but they still have the last stone in the 11th end, and it's a tied game there. Switzerland 9, Scotland 9. Tied game here as well, and the next round required. Somehow Russia still alive in this game, and what we missed while we were watching Scotland was another terrific tick shot from Kristoffer Sundgren. So consistent, and the centre play wide open for Sweden.
23.
Любой гард, любой гард.
Гард обязательно, ребят, обязательно гард. 3-4.
Контроль.
3-4. 4-5.
Вау.
Только линия.
Вау.
5-5. Пятый гард.
Вау, это 6 уже бьет.
Хорошо, Жень.
Skugga högst.
Där det går lite rakt, va? Exakt. Ja. Hårt, 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 hårt. Rent. Bra. Marcus. Bra. Bra.
So it should be really a bit of a procession for Sweden
0-3. Такой же вес.
after these two splendid tick shots from Kristoffer Sundgren.
Пятый гард. Пятый.
Вау.
Пятый. 4-5. Пятый. Все, отлично. Все отлично.
Спасибо.
Ja, ren. Bara ren. Räcker med ren. Bra.
So another peel here from Marcus Eriksson, played a super double peel in the 10th end. And doing a good job of clearing things up here in 11.
У нас потом остается 3 камня. И вообще ни одного варианта на ошибку. Ни одного камня. Давайте подумаем, у нас есть тайм-аут. Да, у нас есть тайм-аут. У нас, если мы ставим гард, он его, если он его пилит, не ошибается, то у нас остается все 3 камня, ни одного права на ошибку. Даже если
Well, team discussion here. Don't think they've called a timeout at this stage. They do, of course, have. Oh, right on cue, there he arrives.
No, yes, he is.
See, that's just an act. That is just to buy them an extra few seconds and sort of, oh, should I go this way, should I go that way? Of course, the the clocks do stop until the coach arrives, and then when the coach arrives, the clocks restart, which is why you generally see a slow march from the coaches on the way down from the bench.
It's amazing to
Почему
see
нет?
just
Мы
how
получим в
slowly
конце
some of
два.
them can walk.
Наставник.
Anyway, so we're down to talk to
About draw or guard?
I think we can go more in this case.
On my guard.
I think you get the guy that high right on this corner of the floor.
Plenty free?
Yeah, so you have to worry about getting up on both sides, right? Get it up pretty high on this side. Maybe even this way, and a little on this side. Right? And then with 6, you're going in around, okay?
6 shot.
Six shot, six shot, you're going around. Best we can do is get 2 in the house, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 6, and then decide to get the last one over on this side somewhere a little bit tougher. But let's try one more up here. Right?
На эту сторону.
Right on the
23.
right on the corner of the
На
floor.
форт.
Я понял.
На форт.
So he has to worry about either way. All right?
Ну да.
Okay. 6 you go in,
Логично.
and 7 you guys see this.
Yeah.
Okay. Good work, guys. Let's go. Make him make it. Make him throw that last
Up,
one.
up,
Make him
up,
throw the last one.
Well, that sounded really like a really good timeout there, delivered by Roger Schmidt. I think quite often the coaches give all the options to the players and just let them go on with it. I think Roger was really clear on what he wanted his team to do here, and I think maybe we should see a little bit more of that at times. If we're going to have the timeouts, then the coaches should say exactly what they want. But what Roger was saying was they want them to throw a long guard because it's difficult to peel because of the stones on the wing. And then if that doesn't work out, they're going to go around the wide stones, and they're going to try and make Oscar face 2 with his last stone. And he said the most important thing was to make sure that Oscar has to make a shot to win the game. So,
Контроль веса.
put him under pressure.
yep, really good instruction from
Дальше
the Canadian.
100% иероглифы.
Иероглифы.
Не, на надпись. 26, Жень. 26.
Ладно, нормально.
Гард. Гард, есть там гол?
Well, they would have liked that a lot longer. They wanted that quite high in the free guard zone to make the peel that bit more difficult.
Главное, что как с американцем.
He kind of knows. Swedish bench
Keep that.
thinking, oh, this has gone on longer than we'd hoped.
Yep. 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 Yep.
Going to get rid of it.
Bra.
Ta ett till.
Bra så.
Лучше заваливает. Не-не-не, шире. Помнишь, куда у меня бэклайн свалил, мы их камень выбили?
Да.
С 2 ставь
Вот
смело.
так.
Вот так вот, хорошо.
Может не
будет.
довалиться, Лёх. Вон.
Довалит все в конце, обваливается
Конце
сильно.
отработаем.
Yes. 8.
Давай вес держи.
So he was a little bit awry with that guard the first time.
Взять на вес.
8.
Yeah, but he's following the game plan now.
Linjer ställ.
That first strategy, the first option didn't work out, so
Только вес.
next option is to try and get one around the corner guards and
Вес тоже
make
ждать.
Oscar face 2 with his last stone.
Linje
В
norma.
конце, ребятки, в конце.
And of course, the thinking behind that is that if Oscar did choose to take on a takeout, then and he hits and rolls out, then Russia, of course, would win the game with the other stone counting in the rings and just puts a little bit more pressure on.
Sten.
Super draw there by Glukov.
70-30 på ovanför T-line.
Okay, so freeze called here.
Curling round the other 2 reds.
Ligger där.
Really is going right to the wire.
Topp 4-10. Tiden är bra.
Ligger där.
Wow! Kalla
Wow.
lite.
Lite lång.
Den kalla.
Nej, bra
Låt den
fart.
kalla om den är lång.
Lite lång. Lite lång, ja.
Ekis kommer
Lite
dutta
lång.
lite. Ja, den är inte på än.
Давай, Женя. Давай, дальше уводи. Ну чё, фриз?
Okay, so Christian Lindstrom just a little bit pacey again and flicks off that red stone. So we'll see a freeze here, I would think. The other option could be just to play a kind of tap on that yellow stone and lie to.
Согласен?
Нам надо 100% его хотя бы оттолкнуть дальше.
Мы оттолкнем его?
Все равно лучше 2 камня, чтобы 2 или 3 камня иметь, чтобы он думал, вот.
Идеальный фриз это тоже схема.
Да. Можно фриз туда привезти? Или фриз?
Ты что больше хочешь?
Давай фриз.
Нет.
Время.
Женя, время!
Время!
Поуже линия. Поуже линия.
Пока много.
Касам, бэклайн.
Вау.
Степ.
Воу.
Нет.
Легко.
Oh, looks like a freeze attempt here for Stukalski. Just a reminder, game plan here is to make Oscar face 2 with his last stone. Maybe a tap might have been a better decision here, but a good shot.
Молодец, Лёх. Не торопись, у тебя.
Я думаю, это лучшее решение было.
Да, конечно.
Ligga där själv.
Någon center där. Man vill ju kört bak. Bak 8 bara.
Bak 4 mitt på linan.
So Oscar will just follow this one down.
75 på Krille.
85 då.
Ja. Vad sa du? 80? 75. 75. Vad skulle Oskar spela? Samma fart eller?
Lite mjukare lär väl jag. Rak frys, lite insida eller lutta lite.
I think he'll be sensing a little bit of tension at the moment.
Yeah, and sometimes it's kind of a strange kind of tension that you get where you're almost putting pressure on yourself because you know you've dominated the game.
And you know you should have finished it off way before now.
Well, looking pretty good here. Just chips off. So it looks like Russia lying second shot, and they're probably going to get their wish. So I think a takeout is the right call here, and to try and roll as far away from these stones on the left-hand side of your picture as possible. What you don't want to do is hit on the nose and leave a massive wall of stones to roll into. So that would just make Oscar's takeout to win the game a whole lot easier. So important to make the roll here. You can't just settle for lying to.
Alex Stukalski, 82% on his 15 hits so far.
It'd almost be better rolling out here than hitting on the nose. So it's going to be a very straightforward takeout here for Oscar. He's got a whole heap of stones that he can roll into.
Yeah, it was a decent enough shot, but it didn't really do what he wanted it to do and ask the question. He still has to make it, Oscar Eriksson. The Russians really have pushed this Swedish team all the way right to this extra end.
Lite mindre. Lite till. Här. Vilken fart. 8,5 typ. Ja, vi har stöd utåt. Bara vi inte tar tunnare än en halv så.
Looks straightforward, but it looks straightforward the last time as well, Alison.
It's hard to be going. It's very quiet in the arena now as well. Final stone of this 11th end from the Swedish skip, Oscar Eriksson, to finally finish this one off.
Well, they're just clearing this one now, and the job is done. Loads to roll into, as we mentioned. That's what you didn't want to hit on the nose, and it's going to be a Swedish win here in draw 7.
Finally, he says, and I'm sure they are much relieved, that Swedish team. Very, very narrow win. The Russians pushed them all the way final score in our final game of this session. Russia 6, Sweden 7.
Alex, over det på läktaren! Ja. Bakis ut! Lille. Grönt.
Well, that was the last game on the ice, so you see the players there just making their way back to the changing room. Second draw of the day. Still have another one this evening at 7 p.m. Second half, here we are in the ninth end. Oscar Eriksson choosing the safer takeout over the draw, leading by 5 shots to 4, and he had to hit it right on the nose to score, and he did so. Score of 1 for Sweden and a scoreline of 6 shots to 4 after 9 ends. Then here in the 10th end, the potential game winner, Oscar Eriksson just having to get that redstone out of there. A bit too much of an active release, and you see the stone backing up, removes one of his own yellow stones from the forefoot, and gives Alexei Stukalski the chance to tie the game and put this one into overtime. Just a quiet wait required with the in turn. Already lying second shot at the top of the 4-foot circle, and the sweepers just really keeping this one clean. Put 2 on the board for Russia, and we're going to need an extra end here. Sweden were completely dominant throughout the game, but just couldn't put the finishing touches on. But Oscar Eriksson this time making his final stone to win this one, 7 shots to 6. An update from Switzerland and Scotland, an unbelievable 3 in the 10th end. That yellow stone at the top of the button, Ewan McDonald's last stone, a super freeze, leaving Benoit Schwartz nothing else but the pin to win this one and draw 7. And this one's over curling. They've given up on it, and Scotland are going to steal this one. Heartbreaking for the Swiss, who had done enough to win the game. Horrible piece of bad luck in the 10th end with their last stone as it grabbed a bit of dirt and left a draw for 3. Scotland chalking up their first win of the week. And that completes the rest of draw 7. The United States beating Germany by 8 shots to 3, and Czech Republic losing out to a button draw from Leo Ray of China to win by 6 shots to 5. And this is how it all stacks up. Norway, the only undefeated team left, on 4-0. Canada, Japan 3-1. Germany losing 2 today to go 3-2, and Sweden joining them, as we saw in our featured game, on 3-2. The host nation 2-2, alongside Switzerland, who just lost to Scotland. United States moving up to 2-3, and everyone else has got 1 on the board now as well.
Oscar, I guess that was an awful lot closer than you intended at the start of the game.
Yeah, it was close. Had an open hit, like a slash in the last end, but missed that one, so should have won it in the 10th end.
You couldn't quite shake the Russians off, could you?
No, they're a good team. Played the Olympics and did great there. So yeah, we have to play good. Have to play really good all games. So played okay, and they stayed alive. Yeah.
And you were a bit unlucky on occasion with the hog violation and one or two other things.
Yeah, that was not very good. And first one for us, so I made a triple on the shot after that, but couldn't make the last one in that end.
What's your assessment of your position now? Because that's 3 wins under the belt.
It feels okay. Should have won against Germany, we felt, but they were on fire and we didn't play our standard level. So 3-2 that's okay.
In terms of the World Championships, is it you've been there as the alternate? What's it like for you? You being the skip now, are you settling into it?
Yeah, of course, it's a big difference, but we feel ready and have a good spirit in the team, and yeah, it feels really good.
Well done with eventually getting that win today.
Thank you.
So the winning skip, Oscar Eriksson, from Self, Logan Gray and Alison Walker. Thanks for watching here in Beijing, and join us for more at 7 o'clock this evening. Thanks for watching.